Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and ladies. How y'all doing this evening?
I am doing good. How are you guys?
I'm good. How y'all doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Definitely thank everybody for joining us on this impromptu live. Schedule it like what last minute on this Sunday night. So we got a lot of interesting topics that we're gonna discuss with you guys. Let me just send out the alerts and stuff like that. We gotta check our boxes and everything like that. Let everybody know that we live up and cheer. So yeah, man, these topics I definitely want to get you guys takes on it because it's interesting, especially the first one that we're gonna talk about, which is the dad and the who confront the Dillard's worker. Yeah, I'm interested to hear what you guys got to say about that. Those who are tuned in, we appreciate you guys joining us on a Sunday night. You could be doing anything else, but you're joining us here. Those who are in the room, definitely give a shout out, say hey or something so that we know your presence is there. If not, it's all good. You could be laid back in the cut and just observe. But we definitely would love to hear you guys' opinion on these certain topics. All right, so without further ado, let's get everything started up in here. All right. So this first story is about the dad that confront a Dillard employee for using a racial slur to him and his team. So just to give you guys some backstory on what happened, the employee's name is Homer. So the dad and his son, like his family, were out shopping in Dillard's. So from there, the dad went to Homer and asked him where's the changing room. So Homer pointed, the changing room is over there. And as he walked away, he said effing N words to them. Now, the father didn't hear him, but the 10-year-old son, and I believe it was the mother or somebody, another parent heard him say that. So they went and told the father. He went to the employees and asked them, could they speak to the supervisor? They said the supervisor won't be in until Tuesday. So he let them know what's going on. Then he went back to confront Homer. And when he went back to confront Homer for using the racial slurs and stuff, this is how the interaction went. And I want you guys to see it because he actually destroyed him in a very intellectual way and educated this older white gentleman. So check it out. 10-year-old son heard you call me a fucking nigger. I want you to know this. And it's unacceptable. You shouldn't do that. You're too old. My family has patronized the village for many years. I carry myself with honor. I would never disrespect any human being by calling them outside of their name. That of what you did. You don't know the impact of what you done to my son. But maybe you were unaware that people can hear it. It doesn't matter about you noticing me. You shouldn't be speaking that way, period. So if you know that, then why do that, man?
All I heard, I thought, because I had hurt my leg, and I actually.
You hurt your leg and you said fucking
No,
nigger.
but I didn't know that. I thought that was all that because I said, my fucking guy or something like that because I hurt because my leg cramped up. But I didn't even know you
Or
were.
listen to what I'm saying.
I am.
How long have you worked here?
Over 20 years.
Over 20 years, and you're acting that way. You don't know what straw could break the camel's back. You don't know.
I know.
But you disrespected myself. You disrespected my family.
I couldn't even.
But I would never do your children or your family or even you or no human being that way. I would never treat anybody that way. But I want you to know, man to man, that shit's not cool. And you don't know what young man. I have grace and honor. And I was raised with morals and values. But I lost a lot. I lost my mother. I lost my mother-in-law. I lost my sister. All that shit. You don't know what mental state the next human being could be in. And it wouldn't be a cop. It wouldn't be a security guard. It wouldn't be nobody that could stop me from getting on your ass if I wanted to. You understand? So I want you to know that. Think about that. It doesn't matter about the age. Treat human beings with respect and morals and values. You understand that? Now I have to go home and correct
my 10-year-old not to be a damn idiot. Don't act a fool. Don't be like Homer. Homer don't have respect for my kind or any human being. This ain't a black and white issue. This is an idiot issue. And I want it to be addressed. So I told your supervisor, we have everybody heard you say it. So I want the whole store to know you was dead wrong. And I just bought this stuff at Dillard's with Homer working here. I wouldn't treat anybody like that, man. And you're dead wrong. So may God bless you and you keep moving forward and I'll pray for you, Homer. Thank you. Peace and blessings.
That
Mm.
yo,
Wow.
that was phenomenal. The way he handled that situation, yo.
Hmm.
That was phenomenal. Now, I don't know if you heard in the video, but the excuse that Homer tried to say was in the beginning of the video, you saw the shirts, like the shirt rack. That's where Homer originally was. So when he was by the shirt rack, he said that, like he hit his knee on like some clothes or something like that. So that's why he said, "Oh damn!" Like he said, he basically made the excuse saying he hurt his knee, and he didn't say that. But everybody out there heard what he said. This is what I will say, and shout out to Tawana in the building and Erica in the building. Shout out to you guys. Appreciate you guys here during this live. The thing is that damn, I lost track what I was gonna say or whatever. But yeah, he basically tried to use an excuse saying he hurt his knee there. But it's like, dude, there was no one around you, anything like that. Well, not no one around you. There was nothing around you for you to hurt your knee, so to speak. And even if you did hurt your knee and you said effing N-word, like that's the reason, like you hurt yourself and you're putting the blame on like a black person for you hurting your knee, so to speak. But before I let y'all go, this is what I want to say. For those who want us to be viewed in a different perspective as far as like to everybody, that's how you handle a situation. You don't lash out, you don't beat people up, you don't do all, no, you handle it in an intellectual way, in a manner, something like this, calm and collective, and I guarantee you'll get different results. Because I tell you this, if somebody come to speak to me and they speak to me like in a very calm and soothing manner on something I did wrong, it's gonna resonate more. Like I'm gonna listen. But when you come at me with vitriol and like yelling and stuff like that, now you're gonna feel you're being attacked, so you're in defensive mode. So this is how I feel we should like approach situations when it comes to people like you feeling you're disrespected as far as in the black community. So what do you guys take on it?
Look, I feel like the dad handled it a lot better than I might have.
Mm-hmm.
I know my attitude. The minute you would have said something to my child, I probably would, Mama Bear would have came out on you. Especially if I don't curse in general around my kid. Like it was a 10-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
Like though that might be language that I don't want my 10-year-old to know yet. So that is a problem for me. Two, I'm in your place of employment. One or two things about to happen now. Yes,
Hmm.
he went over. I tried to talk to the manager. Manager ain't available. Okay, who
Mm-hmm.
else I need to talk to? But guess what? Your 20-year career in Dillard's about to be over
And
because
just to add to it too, when Dillard's put out a statement, they clearly said our former employee, so they fired him ASAP.
exactly, of course, because in my head, you said that you ain't got no place to go back to, so you done lost your pension.
Hmm.
You didn't. You ain't gonna be able to make whatever payments you got coming out next month. You're not getting it because
Let-
guess what? That was an at will. Think about it. You said something that means you probably said it before. You don't just say it one time thinking you gonna get away with it. I
let
might be
me
the first person that says something about you saying it, but you've said it before.
let me ask you something, because I know you said you know how your attitude and everything is, right? So if you would have approached it in a sense where you was like yelling and everything like that, do you think people around him would have then looked at it as he's the victim because an angry black woman is could like do you think the results would have been different because you're being viewed as the angry black woman and he's an elderly man? You get what I'm saying? So
Correct. It would have totally been different because
so
I know my attitude would have came out. Now, am I going to say I'm screaming at the top of my lungs at him? Probably not. But I felt like you disrespected a 10-year-old. One, you use language that I don't use. So if you're using language that I don't use around my 10-year-old, that is a problem. And everybody's going to hear it. Your manager or the manager that's acting on duty, the department head. Guess what? I'm going to go so far as I'm going to be the one that send the letter because y'all going to be mad at me because I'm making phone calls. Like, I'm going to find out all of the information. I'm already research queen. I guarantee if it wasn't a former employee, you would have been a former employee at that point because I'm hitting all the marks.
Okay, let me before you go, June. Let me just read. Erica said, "I thought it was a kid that said that until I saw it was grandpa." Yeah, it was definitely grandpa. I applaud the dad for the way he handled it because anybody else, he would have been sprawled out on the floor. I agree. That's why. And looking at dude, I'm like, yo, dude, look like he could throw some blows now. But yeah, all right. So yeah, June, what is your take on it, brother?
See, I was agreeing with what Erica was saying, but I don't know. I don't see anything happening if he just get fired. I just see him hating black people more. I feel like if you force him in a class where he has to like sensitivity training and force that on him and show him the situations like, maybe like black people go through this and just make him see what his words can do and how it can really crush a race. I think that would be more impactful. Yeah, he should lose his job, but nothing's gonna happen. So if I was his boss, believe it or not, I wouldn't have fired him. I'd want him to learn something from that situation.
You know what? That is actually a good take because you can reflect and be like, "Dag, I lost my job over this." But it doesn't mean that you really like understand what you did because your whole thing is I lost my job. But if you kept your job, you get what I'm saying? Like the message, the way it was delivered. And it seemed like he like it hit home because when you listen to the back and forth that they were having, like you could tell Homer was processing what he was saying, like like taking it in. So yeah, I think I mean, inside of me is saying yes, fire him, but I
Me
can
too.
understand your dynamic on what you're like, where you're coming at. Where it's like, if you didn't fire him, make him take sensitivity classes and stuff like that, it probably would have resonated more. Where he's more educated on the matter. You get what I'm saying? But I don't
Which,
know.
look, I understand that, but you also have to look at it on a business standpoint.
Mhm.
On a business standpoint, he didn't already did this once. So that means he's now a liability. That means other people are going to start coming into this store challenging him to the
Mm,
point where they may, think about it. They're gonna start picking the bear. They be like, okay,
yeah,
you done did this once. I already see your
that's true.
face. I already know where you work at. You
That's
don't
true.
think people looking for come up not gonna come in here and trying to bother this man at this
And
Let
point?
me ask you,
go on.
if they allow, if they gave the customer the rights to do whatever the customer decide, like you get fired or you stay, like would that be all right or no? Like if
It's I was gonna say it still doesn't because you have to look at it on a legal standpoint. That customer handled that pretty good. But guess what happens if the next customer doesn't?
he'd be on the
So then
floor.
that means that it could have been a fight that broke out in the store. That meant, that could have been damage to the store itself. It could have been damage to that person. He could have been hurt. Think about it. He was an older gentleman. That the person who came talking to him was younger. So you talking that's medical bills that could have been on both parties' end.
Yeah,
That's
I dig
destroyed
that.
property in the store. That's even though yes, you got one employee, but think about it. That's other people that could have been in the area could have jumped in and got their licks on too. Like that situation could have blown up so out of proportion that you don't know what's going to happen.
Here's another thing too. Something that you said that resonated. If he did stay on, and you said people was trying to poke the bear, it probably could have had a opposite effect too. Because now you might catch blacks who come in and disrespecting him, and then make him. It could make him do one or two things: say, "Dag, I really messed up," or "See, this is why I hate them."
Yeah,
You see what I'm saying? So
yeah,
I can see both sides. I can see both sides of the situation, but yeah, that was definitely straight up racist though. Like no matter how you slice it. But kudos to that brother, man, because he handled it. He handled it like a straight up G. If you want to say somebody handling something like a G, to me, that's a G.
That was perfect.
You feel me? That's a G, not a person who's gonna go up there, knock somebody out, and you got knocked the f out, and nah. You handle it like a G because you actually turned the other cheek and educated this man
No, but
on his wrongdoing.
with what you just said, the person who hits him, that's kind of like being like you had to get it out of you. So you being selfish. But with him, what I noticed, he was thinking about the future people who interact with this dude. Like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that's what I like. Where he's like, the impact you call like you caused my son. Like,
Yes.
yes, he could have grown up to hate white people because of you. And
Yes.
so I
Or
like that
think
he
about
did that.
or think about the other aspect. His son was right there. His reaction could have been totally different if his son was not right there.
True.
How do I explain as your dad? I
True.
I got
Here,
steam coming out my ears, and then I reacted.
here's
Now you
another
have to
thing.
explain that to your 10-year-old.
Here's another thing that you gotta look at too. He just basically taught his 10-year-old son you don't gotta handle things with violence. You could
Facts.
talk stuff out.
That's true.
You feel me? So that was a very educating process all around. So kudos to that brother. All right. So the next topic on the docket is a woman picks up her daughter from daycare and basically spaz out on all the employees because she found out her daughter was sitting in feces the whole day.
Hmm.
So, yeah, let's take a look at this video. Here we go.
How? How does that happen? How? She smells like she's sitting in shit.
Okay, first, let me apologize.
I'm tired of the apologies. How many times do I have to come up here and there's a problem with my kid? I am tired of the apologies. She is sitting in nothing but feces. Look at her dress. Look at this. She's been sitting in feces all day. All day. What is Sorry gonna do?
Would you like to go in the office?
No, I'm pissed. I am tired of the
I
sinner.
I understand you're upset, but the yelling is kind of not uncalled for.
No, it is not. It is not. No, it is very called for. My daughter is sitting in her feces, and you
you're
standing
upset.
there like it's not a big deal.
I'm letting you say your.
Yeah. So we just saw two different situations how it was handled.
Yep.
Okay, so just to give the results of this story, this woman, she says she pays $1,400 a month for this daycare, and the daycare is KinderCare. I'm pretty sure a lot of you heard of the KinderCare daycare center. And as a result to this video and her approach, they banned her from all daycare, all KinderCare centers. That was the result of what happened with
The
that
mother?
video. Yes, the mother that was spazzing on the video. Now, me
Okay.
personally, I would look for a suit or something, but as a parent, how would you feel? And clearly, she said in the video that she always had like little mishaps and hiccups with the daycare center. So, as a parent, you walk in to pick up your daughter, your son, whatever the case may be, and they're sitting in feces, and it literally seems like she's been sitting in it all day. What is your approach on that? How would you handle it? Because the way she handled it, I'm not mad at it, but like I said, I believe that calm, collective approach and actually schooling a person resonates more. And I don't think you could even have a situation where you would have a blowback where the KinderCare can even take the approach of saying we're going to ban her, yada yada, because now they're trying to play victimhood, so to speak. So, what is you guys' take on the matter on how she handled it? Do you agree with her approach? Do you have the same kind of feelings? Like, what did you guys take on that?
Okay. So as a parent who, I have multiple age bracket kids. I have did the whole daycare thing at a point in time in my life. These are things that you have to ask when you first start your kid in daycare. What's the diaper changing policy? If it is not a diaper changer policy, in fact, maybe you have to see what the age brackets are, because guess what? If you're taking a 6 month old to 2 years old, maybe a different standpoint than a child who is willing and able to go to the bathroom on their own. So it's like those are all things that you have to pay attention to with the daycare center. Two, guess what? These daycare centers have your kids more hours in a day than a lot of parents do sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna have to use kid gloves with the daycare center. And I'm sorry that I have to say that, but these are the people that are taking the most interest in your kids. These are the people that are teaching them their ABCs and reading them books and all of that kind of stuff. So yes, I do feel like she went a little overboard. Yes, if this is your eighth incident, guess what? At the incident one and two, you should have been finding you in a different daycare center.
Before you go on,
And
Black Sheepdog is in the building. Just giving a shout out to Black Sheepdog. What up, brother? But go on.
but like these are all things that you have to do when you vet your daycare center. It don't matter that it costs $1,400 because guess what? $1,400 is not that much for a daycare center if you go into before care, after care in 5 days a week. That's pretty cheap for some of these places, depending on where you live at. But the other thing too is as a parent, you have to talk to everybody that is there. You have to talk to the teacher that's on site to figure out what's going on. You have to talk to the director of that site to figure out what's going on. You coming in blowing up is not getting you no results. You coming in blowing up is not changing the fact that your child ain't been changed.
Mm-mm.
And obviously in the video, like I can't tell how small this kid is. I don't know if this is a 1 year old, a 2 year old, or a 4 year old. Because think about it,
Mhm.
some of these centers they take your kid up until they're going to kindergarten, which is 5 pushing 6 years old.
Mhm.
So I don't know. You don't know how many kids was in that class. If I'm taking you to the bathroom every hour and a half on an hour and a half, and you didn't go, like that's a problem. The teacher's not going in the stall with this kid to see what they are or are not doing. It could have been a fact of maybe the kid wasn't wiping, properly. You don't know. But the thing is, you coming there spazzing is not fixing the problem
But
either.
think about it. The poop stain was actually like resonating through her underwear and through her clothes, like it was on the dress. You get what I'm saying? So that means that that junk was, marinating for a good while. You get
But you could have also think about it. It's a dress. It's a long dress. And I had a little girl. She could have went to the bathroom on herself while she was trying to get to the bathroom. So then it's like, okay, well, where's her backup clothes? Because think about it. A lot of times when you have a kid that's in that potty train stage age, you need to have backup underwear, a backup outfit. You know, that stuff is supposed to be in a cubby or a book bag. So these are all things that don't know if it was there or not. Two, if you got a kid who's spazzing about this dress, maybe they tried to wipe it out a little bit for her to put this dress back on. Because guess what? I got a kid who wanted to dress up all the time. Now, granted, I bought a whole bunch of dress up outfits and you could just pick out whatever outfit you want, but you got kids that only want to wear that one item. So it doesn't matter how much you let me try to scrub it out for you, let me wash it down. Like, no, it doesn't, it's hard when you have kids that young where they're not advocating for themselves. Now,
okay.
go ahead.
Here's the thing. Like I understand the part where you say, hey, the daycare, you don't know how many students they have in the class or whatever, like kids they have in the class or whatever. But that's for the daycare to figure out. That's their job. You get what I'm saying? Like you're leaving your child in the care of these people who you believe are supposed to do their job and make sure if my kid needs to go to the bathroom, hey, go to the bathroom. If my kid alerts you, hey, I need to go to the bathroom, you need to hop on it, so to speak. But even with that being said, as many kids as there is in the classroom, if my kid is in feces, I didn't get a phone call saying, "Hey, bring extra clothes." I didn't get a phone call saying, "Hey, sorry, we had an accident here." I had to come in to the daycare center to now see this. And even when I walked in, it wasn't even a, "Hey, before you walk in, I just want to let you know there was an accident." I literally had to go to my child and see that my child is stinking like poo, and after I investigate, it comes out they've been sitting in this thing all day. Because you could tell when a child been sitting in feces for a while. If you have a child with a damper with a pamper that's soiled, you can tell if the child been sitting there for a while.
Correct,
So,
but that's why I said I don't know what the age bracket is because think about it. If this is
oh,
a
and what's
daycare
up?
where you
And
have,
before you go on, what's up, Vic? Vic is in the building, but yeah, go on.
but think about
Sorry.
it. It's a difference if you have a 6-month old to, let's say, 2, where you have to change a pull up, or no, at a certain point, there is no, I'm going in and changing your pamper. If your kid is walking and talking and they're going to the bathroom and they're not letting somebody know, you can't be always mad at that teacher. Think about it. These kids sit at tables. It's not like, before COVID where they're all sitting on carpets and stuff together. You're sitting in your spots. You may rotate, your
Good point.
activities around, but it is still the kid's responsibility, at least if they're that 2 to 3 age bracket, for you to let me know that something happened. If your
but
kid is not being verbal to let me know, hey, this is what's going on, it's not my job as the teacher to go check your underwear. I'm sorry.
now I don't know if the child was in diapers or not. But if she wasn't in diapers, if she pooped on herself, you're gonna be able to smell it. That thing is gonna resonate through the classroom.
But she
Like,
made a
yo,
good point. She made during COVID, you may be, separated. Like they may have the 6 feet. So well, I would have smelled it. I know if my
But you know what? You got to think about a classroom itself. And like I said, I got a kid that's preschool age.
okay,
Um, your classroom got a lot of smells. I'm sorry.
true.
Like, it's
but
not always like all of them smells come in together, especially if it's a smaller classroom. Think about it. You got the smell of the glue. That's a horrible smell as it is. You got smell of hand sanitizer because
What,
now
poop?
at this point, well, not saying it's poop, but they're strong smells. If your class painted that day, guess what? Paint got to smell. Like,
See,
so
but
that's
that's
what I'm
a
saying.
good point. We don't know. It could have been just a one-off where it just happened that kid pooped that day and we got busy and we couldn't make it to your child. And now you came in on that day. Yeah, I heard the 8 incidents, but were they the same
Well,
incident?
and that's what I was gonna say too. We don't know what those incidents are. My
It could
thing
be,
is,
yeah.
your kid
yo,
could have been one that was singled out. Like, I
yo,
don't know.
let's keep it 100. If you had your child in daycare and they had 7 different things that happened, and then this is the 8th thing that happened, and you come in there and you see a child with poop on their butt, you mean that, yeah, the stuff I don't know. The stuff that y'all saying, I hear what you're saying, but if you're in that moment, nah, you, especially you, Erica P, you gonna spaz out.
The
So
problem is, I'm not getting to that eighth incident. I'm telling you up front, I'm
Yeah.
no,
not getting to that eighth incident.
I
You
understand
did
that, but
incident
we don't
one and
listen,
two. By that third
listen,
incident, I'd have probably already pulled
but
my
we
kid
don't
out.
know what, but we don't know what those incidents were. I'm saying, like, if they were just regular little minute like incidents, so to speak. But after a while, if you're in your feelings and talking, you're gonna look at them as their astronomical things. Like if you're in an argument with somebody and they're like, "Yo, I don't know, you left, dirty dishes in my sink or something like that." If you get into a heated argument, you're eventually like, the way the conversation might be going, you might bring that up, like, "Yo, and you leaving dirty dishes, dirty in my house, yada yada." So it could be something small, those minor things, but in the heat of the moment and passion of you talking, you're like, you bringing it up as if it's a major thing.
Correct, but that's what I'm saying though. Like, I don't know the dynamic. Think about it. A kindergarten, y'all got quite a few different classrooms. So if I got a problem with that teacher the first time, I probably just switched it. Like, there's so many dynamics to this. That is the problem for me. It's like, okay, you're telling me 8 incidents. Is it 8 incidents with the same teacher? Is it 8 incidents with the same daycare? Is it like, because I don't know. But yes, the like I said, the fact of the kid in feces, yes, that is a problem. But like you said, yes, you probably didn't smell it. So if I just smelled it and it happened just then and there, that's one thing. But like you said, I don't know all of the facts. Yes, did that parent get did I feel like the parent was in the wrong for spazzing? Yes. Do I feel like the daycare is in the wrong for neglect? Yes. Like, I feel like everybody is being held accountable. Guess what? $1,400 is a lot. One, two, I'm like, if you spending $1,400 for kindergarten, they may have been the only one with a slot for my kid. Yes, that might be the case too. But when you tell me incident after incident after incident, something has to change. Either the classroom has to change or the daycare has to change. If I had 8 incidents and we didn't try 3 different classrooms and I still have the same problem, then at the end of the day, it's the parent's responsibility to figure out what your next move is. Because it should not get to the point where I'm banned from a daycare center
Nah,
for
but
something to happen.
okay. But her being banned is okay to you, right?
Her being banned the way that she handled it is it's wishy washy. And the reason I'm saying it's wishy washy, a lot of times they don't ban you just for coming in screaming and arguing. You get banned because you destroyed property. You get banned because you were a disruption to every kid in the environment. Like, I
But
don't.
that aggression was a disruption to all those kids.
Correct.
Yeah, because
It
think
definitely wasn't a
because
it definitely was, but do I feel like on one end they needed to probably meet in the middle? They probably should have met in the middle. Because my thing is I need to find out why the kid was still in feces. Because like I said, I don't know if
He
this
said
is
come into
a 1 year old,
office.
a 2 year old,
but
or a 3 year old. So I do still feel like y'all need to figure out what happened. Because at the end of the day, if you got my kid in a class and the teacher's just not paying attention to these 15 kids that's in that class, then guess what? I'm about to have a civil suit at this point too.
well, the way
Because
I
think
see it,
about it, kid in feces, that means that could be diaper rash. That could be, you can get infections with sitting in feces for that long. Like, it causes so many other problems. But you
well,
also have to pay attention to that daycare center too. You have some that put in a handbook, you're supposed to check their kid every 2 hours. Is that a policy that they did? You also have other daycare centers where they tell you your kid has to be fully potty trained before they come into this
see,
environment.
but here's the thing: everything that you're saying is justifying why she should have spazzed out. So that's what I'm
Correct.
saying.
But
Like
what I'm like I said,
everything
I
that
don't
you're,
have a problem with her spazzing out. But guess what? You can't be mad that you're banned now. You
yeah, but
spaz, so the reaction is you are now banned and you need to go find your kid another daycare center.
I granted I understand that, but I think them banning her probably made it worse for them. I think it helped them out in their immediate clientele as far as their, because I don't know who their demographic is of who their customers are. So, like I said, if she come in screaming and it's in a predominantly white community, it's hey, angry black woman, look, we got rid of her, she can't come here anymore. So it can
No
help
offense.
you your huh?
Walls, no offense. If I had my kid there, I would want her gone. Like you're coming acting like this. Like that's what you're
That's what I'm
teaching my
saying.
child.
That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is they did it like they did it for their immediate,
Yeah.
customer base.
But it's
But
also part of their handbook too, though. Like if you look
I
through some of
understand
these
that.
preschool handbooks, when you sign these papers, you signed that you were not going to put anybody,
I
employee,
understand
and
that.
child,
But what I'm
in
saying is
harm's
you're
way.
making a better fight for her when she go to apply for this lawsuit by
How
you
though?
banning her. Huh?
How?
That's more that you could add to my pain and suffering because now I don't have a place I can take my kid, yada yada. So it's like, or yo, I like it's my expectations for the amount of money that I'm paying, whatever, yada yada. Um,
But you're
she basically can
unhinged.
play, but she's unhinged, but she now can basically play victimhood also because it's like now I have nowhere to take my kids, pain and suffering, yada yada. You're bringing more stress to my life now because I got to figure out between work and where I'm gonna put my kid, yada yada.
Yes,
So
but
I
we,
don't
we
know
tried we tried to resolve it. We said come into office. You said no. I'm
And you
gonna
said
keep acting
no.
like an animal in front of these kids. You're out. That's it. I'd have to she'd be banned from my daycare. No offense there.
I understand she'll be banned, but I don't know
Legally,
the way some of these legal laws is set up, man.
Yeah.
I
Okay,
don't
now
know.
legally,
I don't
like think
know.
about it. If you're
Yeah.
going on the legal aspect, yes, I can bring this up as a civil suit. I can bring it up as a civil suit going, hey, I've had these are all 8 accounts since, all 8 incidents that we've had at this school. My child went to the bathroom on themselves and nobody, changed the child. Let's say one of the incidents was my child maybe cut their own, because sometimes you get kids, they get scissor
Yeah.
happy, they start cutting their own hair. Like you don't know what them other instances are, but guess what? When you start looking at it, you be like, okay, so this kid's been in daycare since September. It is now July. 8 incidents. So you talking that's about
yo,
an
but
incident a month?
no offense,
Like
we don't know. We have no proof 8 incidents
Exactly.
happened. Just we
Just
don't
correct,
know.
but
what
that's
she
what I'm
said.
saying.
Well,
She
yeah.
said that on video. So in my head, I'm saying it's
Okay.
8 incidents. You don't know what those 8 incidents are. But if you go in civil suit, they're going to look at every one of them incidents too. And
Yeah.
they also going to see, well, is it the same teacher? Was it different teacher? Because those are all things that play into the fact when I, decide that I'm going to sue a daycare center. You have to look at all of that. They have to have an accountable record. Think about it. When you go to some of these expensive daycares, they write incident reports. They do.
Right? Yeah, they
All
should.
right.
So that you'll have some kind of record, even if it don't always line up with what you're saying. You're gonna get the teacher's account of what happened, the aide's account of what happened. Told you, I had kids in preschool before, so these are all things that they're gonna look at.
All right. I'm gonna go through the comment section. Erica said the daycare was wrong. If they have a policy where they don't change food, then call the parents. I agree. Black Sheepdog said, I want to wear my Power Ranger costume all the time. Erica said, to leave that child all day like that is heartbreaking. I agree. Tawana said, that is neglect, period. That's too many incidents for me. Erica said she agreed. Victor said, that's a $20 week daycare. That's why the mom put up with it. Nah, kinder care is mad expensive, yo.
Oh
Erica
yeah,
said the daycare is wrong for that. 100 a week to watch them not wipe their butt. Yeah, but it's more than 100 a week, definitely.
that's like
She,
350.
It's
Tawana said
350 a
she,
week.
yeah,
Yep.
Tawana said she was right to be upset. Yeah, you should be mad for 100 a week. For 100 a week, that's cheap. Tyga and Ay Caramba video. Vic, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. That's definitely part of the show. 8 different problems and not I had enough sitting in your office because nothing is changing. Like, no, I don't want to sit in your office. No, I won't relax. I worked in a daycare. I don't get that far to 8 at all. And I agree. Sometimes it's like when you're in the heat of the moment and you're in your feelings, so to speak, you're not thinking rational, especially when it's to your child. So that's why I'm saying I can't really fault her like that because you don't know. You're not in that situation, so you don't know how your reaction will be. Especially when you walk into a daycare and you feel like your child been sitting in feces. Like, yeah. All right. So the next topic we're gonna go to is a good Samaritan that actually stepped in and helped save a child's life from the child's own father. Let's check it out.
Called out to a report of a man holding a baby over the side of the highway just north of Cotman Avenue. Christine King was on her way to work and pulled over when she saw a mother and her baby girl in trouble.
And I said, give me the baby. And he said, get off my baby. If you don't get my baby, I will shoot you. I will shoot you. And that's when I stepped back.
King says while she was negotiating with the man, the mom snuck behind and took the man's gun from his backside. She says it took police about 15 minutes to arrive on scene.
The first cop got there and said, come on, come on. The cop came and tried to take the baby for him. They couldn't get the baby for him. They had a struggle. They was pointing gun at him and everything.
And here's extra footage of that also. Check it out.
Teen who was leaving school.
Sorry, wrong one. Here you go.
Hey, yo! Yo, buddy! This nigga gonna shoot him. This nigga is gonna shoot him. Move out the way, move out the way. Huh? Yeah, move. Yo, don't do it. This nigga trying to throw the baby over. He about to get shot.
So the way this story started off is that the woman, the mother of the child was ready to break up with the father of the child, and his retaliation was to grab the baby and threaten to throw the baby over the ledge. And that's how basically this dispute and all this altercation happened or whatever. So I guess my question to you guys is what is your take on the matter for one? And number two, the second guy that was recording, do you feel like he should have stepped in and did something other than just, riding off and saying, "Hey, don't shoot," do you think he should have took action? Who wants to go first? I mean, because for me, I could go first. For me, I look at it as the dude recording. I feel like he could have did something, even if like people say like, well, the cops was there or something like that. But if his back was turned or something like that, like I don't know, you don't feel like he could have rushed in and tackled him or at least try and do something, try to rip the baby away, like
But if that
something.
baby get hurt though, it legally it could be on him. So If he tried to like grab him and they fall on the girl and she, God forbid, passes, it's a wrap.
For
It's
him,
like, yeah, because you was trying to help, but I don't know. I didn't think of that. That he should have tried to help. He should have.
try like something, even if he got out, like, yo, buddy, something. Because the woman, she literally pulled over Miss King and was like, yo, trying to make things de-escalate. She actually took action. So I understand, like, you could record and everything like that, but in the world that we live in where everybody's screaming FTP, which I always say, then it's like, yo, you should be able to take action on things, because if we want to disband and get rid of police and everything like that, then I should see more people should be willing to step up and take actions for things like this. That's just how I see it. But let's hear,
Good
because
point.
Erica looked like she's ready to go in.
You know what? It's twofold. So I feel like it depends on, where you are in the circumstance. So think about it. Miss King stepped in the beginning. So she was the one who pulled over, probably the one who, trying to calm them off the ledge. The guy in the car, I don't really think he could have did anything at that point. Think about it. He was already recording. The cop was already there. The cop would have told him to stay in his vehicle and keep driving off.
But the guy had his back to him though.
Correct. I get that, but think about it. The cop was already there with the weapon drawn. So you don't know what the cop would have done extra. The cop could have tried to shoot the person. The cop is going to tell you, don't, the people that are already there, they already know what their role is. Miss King was already there because she was already in the circumstance where the
Oh
cop probably
man.
pulled up. But you talking to one in the car, no, that would have added more chaos to the circumstance, which could have escalated it even further.
Black Sheepdog made a good point. He said the dude recording would have gotten men see men as more of a threat than women. Just saying. That is true. That's a damn good point.
Wait, repeat it.
Said the dude recording would have gotten shot if he would have got out to help. And he said men see men as more of a threat than a woman. So if the guy still had the gun on him and he saw
Okay.
the dude, he would have, just shot him up, like, no, because he see a
Yes.
man as more of a threat.
He could have jumped off that bridge with that little girl. He could have just
Correct.
Well, the
ran and
position
just
that he
shot.
was in, he wasn't at the bridge yet, though. Like in the
But they not
position
gonna
that
they wasn't gonna shoot at him, so he could have. Let's say he start running. The cop, you can't start shooting. They gonna
that's
put a
true. You
lawsuit
can't, yeah,
on you.
because the baby's in his hands. They can't. Okay, I get what you're saying. Okay, all right,
That's
but yeah,
dangerous. Wow.
yeah, it is, it is. But shout out to the woman though, man, because she like to just get out her car and look to de-escalate the situation, so to speak. And
Mhm.
this is why like a lot of people say like when it comes to situations like this, um police should have what's the people like a social worker or something, someone who's good at de-escalating, like speaking to people. So in situations like that, if a person's going to jump off the ledge, bring a social worker or a specialist or somebody that can actually speak the person off the ledge and not just
Oh yeah.
look at shoot first, so to speak. Because of her actions, that's how the girlfriend was able to rip the gun away from him, and from there, like that made him lose a lot of his power as far as threatening to hurt the child. So let me see. Tawana said he would have had to rush him from the back fast and hard. That's what I was figuring. Because when you look at the video, he was holding the baby and going at it with his girl. And that moment when you're going at it with your girl, you're kind of oblivious to a lot of other stuff. So if the guy would have got out, opened the door, and like tackled him from behind, I don't know.
Yeah, but
What
you would have injured the baby. That's the problem. You have to look at that too.
That's true. Or got behind him and grabbed him by the neck or something, put him in a full Nelson or something.
Suplex him
That's what I'm
too.
saying. Like, I don't know. I felt something could have been done. Because if I was in that, now it's easy to say because I'm not sitting on my cheeks, but I'm not the one who's sitting there recording him or whatever the case may be. But if I'm gonna have the wherewithal to sit out and pull out my phone and record, then I should also have the wherewithal to actually take action too.
Yo,
Yeah,
but
but you have.
honestly, you don't
Sorry,
even
go ahead.
know if he has a gun or you don't know if he has a weapon on him. So for you to try to attack, and then it's like he did have a gun on him. I don't. He still should have helped. His back was turned.
Like,
He should have helped Erica.
like I said, the
Yeah, but
only
I think he took out the phone to record because there was already a cop on scene with a gun drawn. Like that's the
that's
other
true.
thing. Is like people be quick to take out a phone to record when they already see a cop in a circumstance because it's like, okay, the cop got his gun drawn. Let me take this video to make sure that nothing happens. Like I felt like he pulled the camera
To
out for
protect
that.
the guy. So it was to protect the guy from the cop. He
Probably.
pulled.
This is what I will say. If he would have seen, like, if he would have, because it seemed like there was standstill traffic.
Wow.
If he would have been there when the first woman got out her car and went to help, then he should have did something. Because
But
you
my
already
thing
see
is,
one
think about
good
it. You're in the
Samaritan.
vehicle. You don't know what's going on. It's like, yo,
No,
we stuck in traffic, and he probably was like, "Oh, there's really something going on. Let me get this." Like, so
no,
that's why I'm like,
I know that, but if he was there when the woman, Miss King, first got out the car and looked to de-escalate, because if you see a standstill traffic, you're gonna try and see what's going on. And if I would have saw somebody got out the car and ran, and he was in a distance where he could actually hear what was going on, so to speak. So yeah, if you recording and stuff like this, then I would say do something. And the only reason why I'm saying this is because I hear a lot of people say abolish police. We can supervise or we could regulate our own communities. So if that's the mindset that people have,
Yeah, but that's not true.
take action.
But that's
What?
not true though.
But if we just had a discussion saying he took out his phone to protect him from the police.
Is that crazy?
No, but what I'm saying is we're saying the guy in the car who was recording, he could have been pulling out his phone to record the guy with the baby from being shot by the police.
No, I know that's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
When
so
the
that's what I'm
guy had
saying.
the baby.
So if we're taking the step of where I want to record and protect this man who's willing to throw his own child off the ledge from the police, that means that we don't want police, so we should be governing our own, protecting our own, communities. So if that's the action that we're gonna take, then he should have did something. That's
correct,
all I'm saying.
but you
That's
have to
all
think
I'm
about it too.
saying.
In the heat of the moment, you don't really know what's going on because think about it. It's a news report being reported after the fact. So
Erica,
he could have just thought the cops had everybody get out the car, and then he's pulling out his phone going, "Oh wow, the cop got the guy, the girl, and the baby standing outside in the lane." Like you don't
And he
know
might
as
be
you're driving.
pro police.
But check this out though, Erica. That's not what he said, because when you listen to the video, he was saying, he was like, "Yo, man, put the gun down, man. Don't get shot." Like, so he was
Oh, so
aware.
that
He
means
was
he
aware
was
of
sitting in
what's going.
traffic
He was
in
aware.
front of them
He
for a
Yeah,
while
he was
then.
aware of what's going on. And all I'm saying is, if we're gonna say defund the police, get rid of police, and all of this stuff, then not everybody has that take. I understand that. But what I'm saying, there's a loud voice that says that. So if we're gonna protect our own communities, he should have did something. That's how I feel.
Yep.
That's how I feel on the matter. Like, I'm not the person that say get rid of the police. I'm like, I'll call the cops quick to come protect mine.
No, but if you was in that situation, do you feel you should have done something?
If I was in that situation, do I feel if I saw a opening, yeah. If I saw an opening where the guy completely had his back turned or something, yeah, I feel like I should have did something.
Okay.
I honestly feel like I should have did something. Like ran up behind him, choke him or something like that. And the girl probably could have ran and try and grab the kid. And at that point, even if he would have like best me or something like that, or like, got out of the chokehold, if I could have created that distance from me and him, then it's pretty much open season where the cops could have shot him, or whatever the case may be. But it's like I said, it's easy to say it now, but in a situation like that, I would have looked for an opening before I, you know, took measures. But yes, I felt like I would have had to have done something. That's how I feel.
Okay.
All right. So the next topic of the day is a police officer who was caught on body cam using racial slurs. And the reason why this started was because a little black kid stuck his middle finger up at her. And once he did that, this happened.
Teen who was leaving school raised his middle finger at Officer Valentino, which set Valentino off.
Oh, I hate him so much. God, I hate this world. I hate it.
Several seconds pass. Valentino then uses a racial slur under her breath.
Hate him.
We dug into Officer Valentino's personnel file. She's a 14-year veteran with CPD. Her performance report shows she consistently meets or exceeds standards for patrolling. She trains officers who recently graduated from the academy. Her supervisors say she's dedicated and a hardworking beat officer, adding she comes to work with a positive, motivated attitude, which is appreciated, and that she does great work. She's been reprimanded in the past for not turning on her body camera multiple times. And this is not the first time Officer Valentino has been on the city's radar for an issue involving race. In November 2018, she was one of 3 police officers involved in a lawsuit where Jerry Isham, a realtor, was showing a home to Anthony Edwards. Both are black. Court docs show she escalated the situation by aiming her gun at the 2 men and then putting them in handcuffs. The city settled the case for $151,000. And in March 2020, while off duty, she pushed and punched 2 family members and used an umbrella to damage a car. She was convicted by plea of disorderly conduct and was referred to a behavioral health center for anger management. Fast forward to the April 5th incident. According to the internal report, Officer Valentino acknowledged her statements weren't appropriate and that she was surprised the racial slur came out, and that it didn't represent who she was as an officer or how she felt about African Americans. She claimed to have been desensitized to racially offensive language by music and hearing people talk on the street. In that report, she said her job is having a negative impact on her mental health, something she's since sought help for.
According to the city man.
Okay. That was a lot to unpack right there. Yeah. And this situation, man, like cops like that, they can't have a badge and a gun. I understand she's saying she was desensitized and stuff like this, but yo, she was genuinely upset saying, I F everybody. I hate everybody. Like, that's a lot of vitriol and hate. And the thing is, when you're by yourself, that's when your true emotions show. You can mask your feelings in public and all that, show different faces, but when you're by yourself, that's when your true rage shows, man.
See, I don't know.
And here's the thing too. Like, she's been charged for like I said, she's been charged for a lot of things, and like she got basically a slap on the wrist. Okay. And this is one thing before I continue on. This is why I believe a lot of people don't like police. It's because they're not held accountable when they do bad. When they do wrong, they're like, policing is the only field that if you do something wrong, you get a slap in the wrist. You're not held at the highest standard. If you're a doctor and you perform malpractice, you're done. You get what I'm saying? Me as a truck driver, if I get a DUI, I'm going to get the maximum penalty because I have the CDL. I should know better. Look at that truck driver that did 100 and something years because his brakes failed and he killed people, going down the hill or something like that, and got sentenced to 180 something years. So the issue is not the policing, so to speak. It's the fact that you're not held accountable when you mess up. So you have this woman who shows signs of a ticking time bomb, and she's training other officers, which is building a culture. You get what I'm saying? So that's a problem. They got to get rid of this woman. Like, I'm sorry. She has to be.
Yo,
ASAP.
Believe it or not, I disagree with that.
Okay, go ahead. Let's hear.
Just because she said that, let me tell you this. First off, the 2 things she did wrong is she expressed that with the uniform on. She got to respect it. Like, no matter where you're at. Like, if you're homie, you don't have it on, you can be an idiot. They just give you a slap on the wrist. You had the uniform on and you said some hateful stuff. But she said she hate the whole world. Like she probably was having a terrible day, and I understand she got in trouble before. It could have been white guys. I think she would have still done the same thing to them. She
But
seemed like
June,
she got an added. Like I just thought before I heard anger, I did feel like she had an anger issue. Like she just was pent up, and that could seem dangerous, but she let it out when she's by herself. Like she screamed, let it out, and she probably all right. She
but
never shot no one.
yeah, but she definitely punched somebody in the face and destroyed their vehicle with the umbrella, which is
Sometimes
why
you
she
gotta
got
punch people
charged.
in
It was
their face.
family though. Think about
Some,
it. If you listen to the way the report was, she did that to family. So she destroyed the car. Those were family members that she did the first incident to. So it's like, okay, maybe she was just trying to let it out before she had to get out the car. But what I will say is, I think you need to go see somebody to figure
Fact.
out how to one, manage your anger. Two, maybe you need to figure out how to release some stress. Because you a cop for 14 years. You can't tell me you do get desensitized. You talking, I know cops get burnt out all the time. But
Facts.
then on the flip side, it's like, okay, you didn't got burnt out. You need to figure out if this is gonna be the career that you want to continue doing. You got to figure out how to let that go. And if you don't get the right coping mechanisms to let it go, yeah, something eventually will happen, and then you will snap, and then you gonna be on the other end in somebody's jail cell, and you
But,
don't want that either.
but Erica, didn't they say she was outstanding?
Yeah, they said she met and exceeded all her stuff. So when you looking at stuff that's on a reporting aspect, when you testing her, she exceeded everything. And you got people that are like that. They exceed,
Yes.
everything that's a metrics based, but then they still don't know how to talk to people or they
Yes,
still
but
don't know how to cope.
those were in what 14, 16 years she had those two incidents. Like,
Yeah.
yo, I've sat in the car before. It could be black, Spanish, Chinese, Asian, whatever. I don't mean it, but I'll sit there to myself and I'll get angry. Not angry. Let's say I get cut off. I may say, if you're black, I'm going to say something derogatory, not to you. Like, so you, it's just, I don't know how to explain it. I don't mean it. So I
the
don't
pro-
feel,
the problem is though, June, you're not in a position where you literally have people's life in your hands on a daily basis. That's the difference. You're a
well,
common
yeah.
common
That's why I
person.
said
You know
with
what
the
I'm saying?
uniform
So
on.
yeah. So here's the thing: when you have a person that's in power, a judge, a EMT, a
Uh-huh.
police officer, a school teacher, or a college professor, when you literally in a position that you have people's life or future in your hands, we can't have these type of people in these positions because
Yeah,
you're a ticking time bomb. You're a liability.
but how do you know? But how do we know everybody's not like that? You could put
You
anybody
you
in that
don't
position. They got
you
some anger in them.
you don't know, but the fact that you let out that rage on body cam,
Yeah, but what I'm saying is she never shot anyone in 14, 16 years. So the worst she did was she got mad at we know kids can be a-holes and we want to stick our middle fingers at them sometimes. So she got annoyed with a child, said some ignorance. She was wrong because she had that on, but I feel like everybody will say something when I don't know. I just feel like we'll all say
no, I
something
get what you're saying. I 100% get what you're saying, but
when she was caught.
you were caught
That's
doing it.
true.
Exactly. You get what I'm saying? Like, yo, we all got skeletons in our closets. We all got skeletons out, but the fact that you were caught, you got to suffer the consequences.
That's true. That's
I'm
true.
not holier than thou. I had mess ups, run-ins with police back in the day and stuff like that. I understand that. The bottom line is I got caught. It's like if you did something, I did something, I got caught. Yes, I'm the one that's looked on as the bad one. You just got away with it. Hey, you good. You get what I'm
I
saying?
feel you. I
So
feel you. I feel you.
exactly. So yo, she got caught doing it. So yo, it is what it is. Hold on. Before we go on, I just want to go through the comment section. We got Bobby B in the building. Shout out to Bobby B. This was to the last topic he did. He said carry your own firearm too, so you can defend yourself until police arrive. That is true. That's why I understand the license to carry a gun thing. I'm pro and against it on some aspects of it, so to speak. Like those who have a checkered past should not have the license to carry a gun. Those who don't, yes, you should have a license to carry a gun. That's my position on it. What about you guys? Like as far as carrying firearms?
I think everyone should be allowed to. You got to be able to protect your person.
Checkered pass or not, you feel everybody should?
Just because they have a checkered pass, they should
Yes,
be
like they have a criminal record.
Nah.
You
I
don't
think
think?
some people shouldn't. Depend on the crime. If it's a violent crime, no.
Okay, yeah, okay, got you. What about you, Erica?
See, I don't like weapons. So I'm all the way on the opposite side. I don't condone people having guns in general. I just don't like weapons
Only
because
police officers or nobody? Period.
if look, if I felt that police could do their jobs without them, I would take weapons away from them too. I really would.
Okay,
Because I feel like a lot of times guns do more harm than good in most situations.
got
But
you.
the criminal will always have it though.
Correct. That's what I'm saying. Like if
Yeah.
I thought
That
that
is
a
true.
police
They'll
could get
find
their
a
job
way.
done without it, yes. But yes. So in that case, no. Like I said, if I could have a cop do their job without having to have a weapon, I would be all for it. But in
All right.
general, yes, I feel like a cop has to have a gun because the criminal is out there with the gun too. Do I feel like people in general need a gun to protect themselves? I don't always feel like it does because if you start looking at reports, more people that shoot somebody thinking it's a home invasion, a lot of times it's a family member that gets injured instead. So I started looking at some of those reports and I'm like, I don't know about having a gun or the kid is taking the gun from the house. So I'm like,
Yeah, but see,
the
that's
greater
why you
good for
gotta have
me is a little different.
that's why you got to have a universal thing, a gun lock and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But just,
Correct,
just,
but gun locks and all of that stuff don't always work. You got
it
kids
don't.
that be over your
No.
shoulders sometimes and be paying attention.
Well,
And if
here's
they
the
really
thing.
want to get into it, they will get into it.
But guess what? That's the consequence that comes with it. So if you want to own a gun, you get what I'm saying. But this is one thing I will say. The thing that you said, June, is that they have the criminals be having guns. They be having better guns than the police officers.
Yeah.
I mean, they be having better guns than the police officers. Like,
Exactly.
so yeah, they definitely need their guns. Let me continue with the comment section. I'm the person that says get rid of police. I just can't stand them. Hey, as long as you keep it 100, it is what it is. Let me see. Bobby B said cops in my town aren't bad, but if you live in a city, I can see your point of view. Yeah, city cops are a-holes a lot of times, not all, but not all, but too many. And it's crazy. As much as like people say, like I can recently say that I did meet a-hole cop literally yesterday that kind of singled me out, and gave me a ticket or whatever, but it is what it is. But other than that, like any situation where I interact with police, whether it was because I was doing something stupid, they were not a-holes to me. Now that I understand that that's just my experience, but yeah, I've never had situations where I ran into police who were a-holes or looking to get under my skin so that they could do whatever. But yeah, I've never ran into any police that were straight up a-holes. Every time I ran to a police, like I remember the first video I did with Strategic, I was telling them about the woman that I basically who I s- it was during a snowstorm. I shoveled out my cars. I shoveled them out for the snow. This lady comes and park in the spot that I freaking broke my back, blood, sweat, and tears to dig the cars out. So I spazzed on her, like, yo, we was going back and forth or whatever. She called the cops, and when the cops came, I straight up told them the truth, like, yo, she parked in my spot, and I was like, yo, watch what's gonna happen to your car, yada yada. So then he was like, yeah, because my thing is, if I would have lied to him, then he go back to her and she say he said this. Well, sir, she said you said this, and now it's a back and forth, and it's like, well, let me look this dude up. Yeah, you do got a checkered pass or whatever. So I think you're lying. All right, just to avoid all that, I just told them what it is. This is what it is. This is the truth. You feel me? So with that, he was like, you can't really say that. Like he kind of like negotiate where it's like, okay, you can't really say that. So what did you mean by that? I was like, nah, that means, a car could come around the corner. I hope it slides on ice and ram her car, just some story, whatever. And he was like, all right, I hear you. He knew it was BS, but he was like, I hear you, whatever. He was like, just you gotta be more mild, like more. You can't lose your temper like that. It ain't worth it. Stuff like that. So he literally sat down and spoke to me like a human being and actually calmed me down because I was mad as I don't know what. So I've never like experienced, bad interactions with police. Now, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people who was out there doing the right thing and the police were a-holes and whatever the case may be. But I've never experienced. Did any of you guys ever experience any bad cops or any bad policing?
With,
No.
with,
No.
with Crazy Haiti, we would come from the movie theaters, all of us, and
Yeah.
they were just coming from watching like a Mortal Kombat, loving it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's like, pull over. What are you doing in Cranford? And it was always those same spot, Cranford, Garwood. And it was like, that's when I moved to Rawway. So it was like it's
Yeah.
quicker for him to bring me home. Like we go, and it was like, nah, don't come in Cranford. So I used
But
to stay with those.
yeah, and you know what it is too? It's more so, hey, we have a good community here. We hear
Yeah.
stories about black people, so we
Oh,
don't
no,
want
I
our
get
face.
it. I
You get
get
what I'm
it.
saying?
I
Yeah,
get
yeah,
it.
yeah. This is why I'm always proponent for like, yo, we got to change the narrative of how people view us. That's why the first gentleman, the way he approached that racist white guy in Dillard's, I applauded the way he handled it. That's why I'm like, yo, if you want to change the narrative of black folks, that's how you handle situations. All right. Let me see. Vic said she is a ticking time bomb. That's the police officer. I agree. She's a ticking time bomb. Whites knowing soon they will be the minority is driving them crazy. Do y'all think, like, how do y'all feel about that?
I think there's truth to
Yeah.
them becoming a minority because of the way things are going, where they're not really having kids as much, and they're like intermingling. I
Yeah.
understand the fear. I get it.
Because if you're a person who was in power for a while and now you're gonna lose that power, you kind of you
Yes.
kind of start, going off the rails a bit. So yeah, I agree. And Bobby Fee said, "Yeah, Victor, it sounds like she is losing it, getting sick of the world." So Anna says she needs to just leave the job. Shake my head. It's overwhelming. She tired. I agree. I agree, man. Sometimes being like the rigors of the police officer, why you think so many of them commit suicide and stuff like this?
Mm.
So yeah, it takes a lot on your mentality. Speaking from hearing, people like strategic and stuff talk, and reading and doing research, yeah. But I honestly say, like, I think people from the hood or people who like, I think a lot of black kids who grew up in the hood are good for being police officers because you're desensitized to a lot of the stuff that goes on. You get what I'm saying? Like, I think so.
They
What was
they
you gonna
wouldn't
say?
be good cops though.
No, I would. Well, you could get some that are good cops because if you've been going through the rigors of seeing
Yeah,
cops treating people like this
you
and you
could.
want to
Yeah,
make a difference, and that's another thing too. A lot of people who say, oh, bad cops, this, that, and the third, then go into force and change, what cops do, like try and make a difference.
That you got to think about it though. It's a catch 22. You have
Okay.
people that go into the forest and they think they're going to make a change, and it's a lot of bureaucracy. So you go in thinking this
yeah.
is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go affect change, and you really can't change anything
You got no
because
voice.
it's not them.
Yeah.
It's really the politicians that put the laws in place for things to get changed.
Think about it. Say if you go into a job and you like, yo, it's a lot of things that I see could be done better. So you go to the boss like, yo, we could do this better, we could do this better, and they just shoot it down, shoot it down, shoot it down. Eventually, you like, you know what? This is how things go here. I'm gonna just collect the check and do what I got to do.
No, exactly.
But that's realistically what happens.
Yeah, yeah, I got you. That's why I got a buddy of mine. He was like, yo, all cops are bad. I don't care if they go in there with good intentions. His mindset is all cops are bad. And I'm just like, yo, I ain't gonna say some of the stuff that he said because YouTube would definitely probably give a strike or something. But yo, your man has a hatred for cops. Vic know who I'm talking about when I mention his name, my buddy Austin. I'm gonna
But
just leave it at that.
I'm gonna say, but you have to think about it though. Like if you have not had any good interactions, that is going to cloud your judgment over everything. Like
The
in my case,
law.
No, just about cops in general. Like I grew up around cops, so I look at cops differently. I was that kid going, "Yep, I'm gonna call the cops so they can come help me." I like that was what I grew up with. I had them as family members, so it's like, okay, it's nothing. But then it's like, in general, when you have people that are in an area that don't trust cops, then no, you'll start breeding the next generation of kids who don't trust cops. And then the
Yeah,
next batch of adults who are doing the same thing. It's like, at what point do you break those generational curses?
that's true.
But
Uh,
that with what Walls just said, that's crazy though. He said all do think all cops.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
with
because he thinks if you like, you can go in there with good intention, but you're gonna fall victim to the culture. That's what he's thinking.
so if he went into law enforcement, he
He
feel
think he think he
even
would
had
be corrupted too. Yes, he think he would
okay,
be corrupted too.
Because he think it's blue over everything.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
It's that fraternity, it's that brotherhood
Yeah, but you
over
Because
everything else.
because check this out, check this out.
uh-huh.
Because I hear a lot of like cops or former cops say things like, because even the live that we did with Strategic, well, it was me and Deontay from Talk Edit, and he was like, Deontay was like, why don't these cops turn these bad cops in? And I'm paraphrasing here. And he said something along the lines like, you don't want to see this person lose their pension over a criminal and stuff like this. But if that becomes a cultural thing, then that means people are turning blind eyes to stuff that bad cops are doing. You get what I'm saying? So that's how people perceive it. And you always see, like, for instance, I was gonna cover that story about the lady who became the town, what is it? She became the town something. I forgot what it's called. She became the town something, and the whole police
The
you like
councilman.
every yeah, the whole yeah, town councilman or something, and everybody in the police force quit. Like all of them quit, right? Because they felt like, oh, we're working in a environment, like in a what's the word, abusive environment, stuff like this. But then when you looked at it, it's like, and that type of work, if you're working in an abusive environment, wouldn't you go to HR, to try and get different protocols to try and find a resolution or get this person fired? But they didn't do any of that. And the person who became the town councilman was a black woman, and it was all white cops on the police force, so they all band together and quit. And there was like, if she gets fired or she resigns, we'll come back. But then I hear a story about that other police officer who was saying racial slurs and basically was promoting how he put 119 bullets inside of a black person. And if you shoot people, I'll cover it up. I'm the only person doing this and all this stuff. Like basically, because the what happened was that black officer was wearing pretty much like a recording, and was recording this white police sergeant or chief saying all this stuff to him, because he said he was working in a toxic environment, and every time he tried to report it, nobody was doing nothing. So he basically went undercover and recorded this guy saying it. Everybody in the basically precinct knew about this, his ways, his tactics, and everything like that. I didn't hear everybody band together saying this is a toxic environment, we're gonna quit, yada yada.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? So they were just like, yo, this is all good. So it's like you have one situation where this black woman who came in, she's known for doing good and basically taking like bad situations, whether it's policing and stuff like that. She's basically known for taking bad situations and making it positive, so to speak. They was like, yeah, we're quitting for somebody who's going to come in and try and make positive changes.
Oh, what are you saying though?
But then you have this cop who was basically keeping negative culture going on, and nobody said this is a toxic environment to work in. They stayed on the force.
You but you know what? With the force, you may have to be a little over the line to actually be safe out there. So
Yes,
being
you
that
may.
yeah,
No,
so with a woman like with the black woman coming in and changing the culture, it may be like, yo, she's gonna put our lives at risk, trying to have us doing things the perfect way, and now these criminals are gonna have the edge. So they
but
may
but
fear for
June,
the
but here's the thing though. Here's the thing.
Uh-huh.
That town was stating that town was basically saying that a lot of the black people in the town were being harassed.
By
They're
cops.
getting pulled over by cops and the whole nine and everything like that. And you had people that came out and was like, yo, the only reason why the cops is doing this is because she's black and everything like that. But here's the thing. Here's the dynamic I want to put before you go, Erica. The woman only been in there for less than a month. So she didn't even get a chance to really put in like whatever protocols that she was trying to do. You get what I'm saying? So how can you say it's a toxic environment and you didn't even go through protocol through HR to say, hey, these are the protocols like that she's trying to enforce, whatever, and it's making a toxic environment for us. They didn't do that. They just quit. So if it was really a toxic environment that she was doing, don't you think they would have went to HR and said, hey, she's doing XYZ? Because those type of jobs, a person don't just get up and quit. You go through proper channels. You get what I'm saying? So that's why I'm like, yeah, I hear where you're coming from, but
I
it's
get it.
not like the picture they're painting is not stating this.
I feel you.
But my whole thing is you have a woman that they brought in who is trying to known for bringing in like changing culture to positive, but you had this dude who was, keeping a negative toxic culture. Nobody said they was going to quit there, but over here it was like, yo, we quitting. That's all I'm saying. You do whatever you want with the information, but it just make me look at it with a side eye, you know. But I digress. Go ahead,
What I was
Erica.
what I was gonna say is you got to look at what that was. So it was a North Carolina town.
Hmm.
What they did is they hired a new manager for the town.
Yes.
So technically, she is not a police officer that is coming in to affect change.
Hmm.
But they brought her in, one, because you were getting too many reports of the residents that were non white having issues with a predominantly white police force. So, yes, her coming in for them was going to change the culture itself. It's going to change the way that you run protocol. It's going to change the way that you know, talk to non-white people, respond to non-white calls. So it would have been a massive change for them. The problem is when you have a police department who is stagnant and doesn't change, when someone comes in to do any little change, they're going to have a problem. So they went in to all resign because they knew change was coming and they knew they didn't want to go in and change the way that they were acting. But guess what happens? If all y'all quit, you do realize that is going to cause chaos in
Mm-hmm.
that area. So
Mm-hmm.
that means your crime rate is going to go up because you ain't got nobody to go respond to these. That means the town itself is going to have to reach out to state police to come in and help.
Well, here's the thing. They had the neighboring the police that's actually willing to work with her and bring in help because they see what she's trying to do. So they have all those in
Correct. And
order.
that's what I was
You
going
know what
to
I'm
Oh,
say.
saying?
so
So
they did
yeah,
that.
yeah. So
Well,
they
and that's
have
what I was
all
gonna
those
say. They were
protocols
having
in
to
order.
bring in other
Yeah,
resources. You
yeah,
got to bring
yeah.
in state resources. You bring over police from neighboring towns over to come help you, and so you go through the batch of applications that you have to
Oh
get your police
wow.
force back up and running. Yeah, I pulled up the story while he was talking because
So
I
those
wanted to make sure that I knew what was going on.
those cops are surprised. They got shocked then because they like, wow, I thought they was gonna fold to our demands,
But you
and
also
they're
have to
not.
think about it. It was a town that had a little over 1,500 people. When you
Yeah,
have
it
a
was a
small
small
town with
town. Yeah.
1,500 people, you
Okay.
may have 10 to 12 cops for your whole area.
Hmm.
So in that case, then yeah, all y'all quit. Y'all go figure out what else you gonna do next. Because you have to
I
start looking at some of them smaller towns. They don't operate like a big city where they have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of precincts and hundreds of people. No, a lot of times these cops that take their car back with them, like they drive in the cop car 24/7. Or it'll
oh
be, when I used to go visit my grandparents in Georgia, you know where the cops live at because they
yeah.
cop car sitting in front, it's seven people in the whole town. You start going to them back roads in Georgia. You
I
you
I
know who them cops are.
Erica said a comment. She said she had problems before. I'm thinking she's talking about the town manager. Yeah, she had problems where she was working for other, what was it, other towns or cities or whatever, and she basically like was trying, like tried to sue them for discrimination.
Correct.
And I believe that some of the suits got dropped, but yeah, that's pretty much what it is. So it wasn't nothing where she had like a checkered past, so to speak. It was just that she like put in a, what's it call it, put a,
She would put civil suits in.
yeah,
She would put
civil
civil
suits
suits
in
in because
for
when she would
discrimination.
go to towns that felt that they needed to be more culture, more culturally diverse, and she would pinpoint those particular places. If you do not make changes, then I sue you to make sure that you start making them changes.
No,
If
they
you
would
sue them,
fire her. They would
correct.
fire
They
her,
they
and
would
then that's
fire
when she,
her, but then
that's when
once
she
they
would put
fire
the,
her, she would put the suit in because they were, a lot of these jobs are at will jobs. But it's, of course, if you feel that they're only firing you because of the color of your skin and not wanting to change, that's what I'm going to do. I'm gonna go make a lawsuit based off of my feelings. It may not always be the facts, and then when the facts come out, some of them got dropped. A few of them they had to settle out of court because that's usually what happens if people look at you and you get upset that you don't, you're not doing what they
yeah,
want you to do in those areas.
Wait,
yeah.
Walls, I know you're about to go, but let me say one thing that it is a checkered past because people find issue with people that call discrimination. Because I know someone in particular, a black woman who, if she feels it's discrimination, she does not need facts. She's going to call discrimination if she feels it's discrimination. And I'm like, sometimes it'll feel like that. Like that person may be hateful to everybody, and you're now calling discrimination because it felt like. So sometimes they mess it up for the people to who really felt it. So Walls, it is a checkered past. To a white person, it may be like, you know what? She's out here calling discrimination when she don't get her way. Like if I was white, I'd probably see her like that, even though she's not, because of the person I know who calls discrimination for everything. Everything.
Nah, I could get that. I can get that. Like I said, I don't know the exact details or the extent of it, so to speak. So I could agree with that. I could agree with that. One comment I want to say that Black Sheepdog said, he said, matter of opinion. Y'all need to do another collaboration with Strategic. Bring Austin on too. Nah, Austin won't come on. And on top of that, most of the people in the chat and everything would have a hard time deciphering what Austin is saying because he speaks like deep patois because he's Jamaican. And when I tell you that patois, like, yeah, you're gonna be like, wait, what? Wait. Say it again. Yeah. Because even me, I understand patois, and even me, there's sometimes where I'm like, wait, say it again. So yeah, it would be interesting to have him on though, because brother can talk. He can talk, but I don't know. I'll run it by him and see what he say and kind of go from there. But that would be an interesting conversation to have with Strategic and Austin on there because, like I said, he has a hatred for police officers, yo. So, all right, so yeah, y'all agreed. So just to confirm, June, you believe that she shouldn't be fired, the police officer who went on the rant.
Nah, she should be fired because she had the uniform on.
Okay, what about you, Erica P?
Okay, so I am going to take her background into play. I'm not going to say firing, but I will tell you she needs to seek counseling. She is also needs to go to anger management, and I feel like she needs to be on a probationary period.
That sounds better. I'll go with that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Me, I don't think, I don't think she should be training other officers, and yeah, she needs to definitely get anger managed, like get her anger under control. But I don't know, man. I still see her as a ticking time bomb.
Yeah, but
I
if you
still see her
fire
as a
her,
ticking time bomb.
like, isn't that work? Like, this is now a ticking time bomb that doesn't have a job. So isn't that like scarier?
Yeah, but if you commit a crime or something, you're gonna be prosecuted at the highest capacity. Whereas if you're a cop, you're protected by the shield.
Yeah, but you have to
And
think about it. She didn't do anything. And I
I
think that's
understand.
the other thing too. Is like, yes, she had her body cam on. Yes, you were in the heat of the moment and you talked, but you don't know what else was happening in her life either.
No, I get
Where
that. But my thing is, if you're a ticking time bomb, that means you're what ready to explode. So would I rather you explode in a as a police officer or as a civilian? I'd rather you police
But guess
explode
what?
as a
Ticking time
civilian.
bomb is ticking time bomb regardless. So
Yeah,
if she
but
did it on the clock or off the clock, if she was off the clock, guess what? She was
I'm not talking about off the clock. I'm talking about as a civilian not being a police officer. So if she got fired and she exploded, she's gonna get the maximum, penalty. Whereas if she's a police officer, it's probably gonna be knocked down a peg, where she'll do 1 year, 2 years, or something like that. If she's not a police officer, you're looking at that 25 to life.
Yeah, but as a not police officer, she now may be thinking about suicide. As a police officer who's now reprimanded to like desk duty, she may just think like, you know what, I messed up.
If you're saying desk duty, I'm fine with that.
But you don't want her around civilians.
Yeah, because she's a ticking time bomb.
I feel that.
Yeah.
See, but I guess I look at it differently because I feel like everybody, given a circumstance, can be a ticking time
That's
bomb.
what I was trying to
do
say.
feel like, she needs to figure out what triggered it. How do you prevent them triggers going forward and get the help that you need? Because
But
that's
what
realistically, it's not going to change if she got on a uniform or not. If that's how you feel, that's how you feel. And to be
okay.
honest, if she didn't have a uniform, guess what? She could have hurt that kid. If she was just on the street and she was standing there and that kid came over there, guess what? It might have been worse.
So let me ask you this.
Possible.
Both of y'all.
Mm-hmm.
If I have two people, one person who I see like a kid flipped them the bird or somebody was irate with them and they were calm and kept their composure. And then I have another person, the kid flipped them the bird behind the scenes with their body camera on or whatever. They spazzed out, so to speak. And now I get a call that there's a domestic dispute or something going on. Who do I think is more qualified or fit to go handle that domestic dispute? The person that spazzed out or the person who kept the calm and cool head?
That's a
The
loaded
per-
question.
I was
the
about to say it's loaded because guess what? I may be calm, cool, and collective right now, but 15 minutes later, you don't know what's going on in my head, and I
I
could
think
spaz out.
I know.
y'all capping. Y'all
No,
capping
no.
because
I hear.
if you have a person that is known to lash out and a person who's not like more calm and collective and like you saw them dealt with situations where they kept their head leveled.
That's different. That's different.
That's what I'm saying. So like you're saying, nah, it all depends. I understand a person can lash out,
But you're
but
looking
if a
at somebody
person
who has a stellar record, though. Like that's one thing.
but the
You
fact of the
talking
matter is you saw them lash out. If you saw a person lash out and you never saw a person lash out, like okay, if you're gonna bring I'm trying to think like who do you think if you're bringing a person home to meet your parents, a person who had a checkered past or a person who never had a checkered past or no kind of blemish? Of course, it's the person who don't have a blemish. The fact that she has a blemish and a checkered past, you're gonna think if I send her to a situation, it's a possibility that she'll, blow up. Granted, a person who doesn't, it's a possibility they'll blow up. But the person who showed that they can blow up and did blow up, they have more of a chance of blowing up because it's on record. It's
But
just
you
like,
have to think about it though. She didn't blow up in front of anybody.
but she
Camera
still
or no
blow up.
camera. But think about it though. You have to think about how she blew up though. She was sitting in the car, hand not on gun, nobody around her. And her camera could have been off. So she could have blew up and this camera would have been deaded.
All right, so here's a question
But
for
we
you.
would not have known about it. The
So
fact
if
that
you're
the camera was on,
so here's a
everybody
question
makes
for
it a
you.
problem.
So here's a question for you.
You go. Let me hear.
If your child was 18 years old and was acting a fool out in the street and he's known for cursing at cops and stuff like that, which cop would you rather to interact with your child? Her or another cop who didn't show no display of yelling and being like doing what she did?
I'm gonna pick the one that's not, but guess what?
That's
But
the
guess
that's
what? You don't
huh?
know though, because you don't know what's
But
you
but
don't know what kind
you
of
don't
interaction is
yeah
going to happen.
yes you don't
Regardless,
know you don't
if
know
she
but
spazzed
if
out or not. And
You
guess what?
don't
If she
know, but
got some help,
history.
guess what? She might not do it again.
But Walls, you're saying is like, let's say the date came to see the person's parent, and then they farted on the ring cam. Just because they farted on the ring cam, they thought they was by themselves. Like you can get that. Like I'm not gonna judge you because of what you did by yourself.
Or they fixing their
I
clothes
understand.
outside. I got out the car, and I'm fixing the
I
clothes,
under
and they looking like,
I
you really
understand that,
buttoning up
but
your shirt and
I
tucking your
understand
pants
that.
in right here?
But that's not a situation where that person's life is in your hands. We're talking about this police officer has people's life in their hands. What I'm saying is the reason why I brought up the depiction of if you're bringing somebody home to meet your parents are viewing this man that you're bringing home as you're supposed to guide and lead my daughter.
Yeah.
So just as you're looking at this police officer, it's like you're supposed to protect and serve. So I'm gonna pick the one that didn't have the history of showing spazzing out, as opposed to the person that did. Yes, it's a possibility. The person that never showed or did it has a possibility, but who has the greater percentage between the two? The
But,
one that you saw spaz out.
but Walls, I know you seen Crash. The one
Mhm.
that seemed wild was the one at the end that really he didn't do it. He tried to save the woman, and he tried to save somebody. And the one that was really nice, the cop who was really nice, ended up doing the bad stuff. I don't know if you remember that movie, Crash.
I don't remember it fully, but I understand where you're coming from, but we're visual creatures. We're the type who, if a person has a history, you kind of look like if you have somebody who's gonna do if you have an option, right, you need plumbing in your house. You have one plumber who does decent work or whatever, but you have another plumber who does exceptional work. These are the only two options you have. You have another plumber who does exceptional work, but he had a criminal history of robbing people's houses. The person that does exceptional work, he can possibly rob your house too, but history tells you this person got a checkered past for robbing people's houses. You're gonna be like, nah, I understand he changed his life and everything, but this person, he never had a checkered past, so I'm gonna go with this person. Come on,
Yeah,
man.
but
Like that,
robbing a house isn't something everybody does. I think feeling anger and letting it out when you're by yourself is something I think
I
everybody
get
does.
what you're saying, but it's still to depict a picture of when somebody has a history of something. We're
I see
built
what
to
you're
say,
saying.
nah, we're gonna stay away from that and go with the one who doesn't have something. That's the narrative I'm trying to depict.
Correct. But I do feel like because she's on notice now, because of her anger, guess what happens? If that person gets the help that they need, they will be a better, well-rounded person
But
going forward.
what if she
We
takes somebody's
assume
life though? Like who is that
Correct. And
for?
but if she takes somebody's life, guess what? She's already on record too.
Yeah, but
So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
but
but
like
on
who,
the
it's
department
who,
as well.
does that fall
correct.
on? That fall on department and everything because they had the
That's
same
true.
mentality that you
Correct.
guys
But
have
that
of
means
saying,
but that's why you have department reps that go, you got that union steward to fight for you. It's this is everything out on the line. Did you go through your think about it? Because she already went through anger management. So it's like, okay, well, how long ago did you go through anger management? Did you just go through the 3 sessions and they signed your paper, or did you really start implementing this stuff into your life?
Yeah, but Erica,
Those are
they're gonna tell you she displayed she was a ticking time bomb.
yep,
correct.
at
And
the
then
yep,
and then that's
that's what it's gonna
but
come
at
down
that
to.
point it's like, okay, you had in 14 years, you had the option to find you different employment. You chose not to. You chose to stay here. Now it's my chance as your employer to tell you, sorry, here's your pink slip. You're gonna have to go at this point because you've already had an incident. Yes, you've had the exceptional background going forward, or in those 14 years, we gave you the slap on the wrist the first time. Okay, shame on you. This is the second time around. Now it's your fault now.
That's why
So now
that's
you
why
gotta
I
go.
specifically said if you keep her on to do desk duty, I'm
That's
perfectly
true.
fine with it.
Yeah.
But you have to think about it though. Not everybody excels at desk duty.
It
You got
doesn't
some
matter.
people who are really great at doing that, and you have others who aren't.
It doesn't
So it
matter.
may not be in her
If
strong
you
suit.
it
Maybe
doesn't
being that
matter.
beat cop was her strong suit.
Erica, my point is it doesn't matter if that's not your strong suit. If employment come to me, let's just say for the sake of argument, if I get a traffic infraction, since I drive, I'm a driver, If I get a traffic infraction from my company and they're like, look, man, because of this, our insurance will go up if you keep you up as a driver. So what we got to do is keep you in the warehouse for a bit. And once everything is clear, maybe we'll put you back on the road. But if you want to stay with the company, you work in the warehouse. I may not excel in the warehouse, but at the end of the day, if I want to keep working, I get to decide: do I want to stay in the warehouse and try and learn this, or go find other employment? So that's
Correct.
up
And
to
that's why
her. But that's up to her to say she wants to leave. The department doesn't owe her a favor because she don't excel. No, either get with the program and improve your skills at desk duty, find other employment. We'll find a place to plug you, and if it don't work, here's your pink slip. You're making it seem like they have to conform to her because that's not her. No, you as the employee have to conform to what they assign you the task to do.
Or keep it stepping.
And keep it moving. You putting it on the department. No.
Yeah, but
that's on
think
her.
about it. The department, they look at this video, they may not even want her. They may tell you, sorry.
But
have a nice day.
What I'm saying is the way you sound like was, since she's not good in that, then they gotta make exceptions for her to plug her where she belongs. No, that's on you. No. That's on you. Okay. So I know we went way off topic, but okay. Here's the next topic that we're gonna go across. So we all know about the whole Rosita situation with her shunning the black kids, and we see other Sesame Street characters doing the same thing. Well, let's look at Sesame Street 2.0. Apparently, this is going over towards on Disneyland, where a video surfaced that a black child was shunned by Rapunzel. And the crazy thing about this is that this person wasn't in costume, so you see their face and the whole nine. So check it out. Let me remove this real quick. All right, here we go.
That was just awesome. You gotta get in line, Lauren, walk back to the back of the line. Come on, the line over or no?
Oh, we don't really have one. We're just walking around.
Oh, cool.
All right, I'm gonna
go to the back.
Picture real quick.
One, 2, 3. Thank you very much.
Right there, y'all go.
Wait, what about us? What? Rapunzel.
She walked off when she saw y'all, just like the Elmo. Excuse me, ma'am. You waved at everybody except for them. Ain't this what the Sesame? Excuse me, sir, that's walking with the princess. She waved at everybody except for them. Oh, this like Elmo, yeah. Y'all see this?
Oh yeah, I remember. He walked past too.
Yeah, the Elmo walked past all the black kids.
Yeah, come on.
Yep. Okay. So watching that clip, the thing I want to say off the bat is she was wrong for saying that to the children.
Okay.
Like saying, oh, see, this is just like an Elmo situation, because now you're playing into that child's psyche. You get what I'm saying? Like, I think she should have kept that to herself and acknowledged what was going on, so to speak, and spoke about it, but not saying it directly to the children. But that's my take to start off on that. So you guys, like, you can give your take on what you think about that.
Okay, so I'm gonna throw this out there. I feel like when she first ran over, I do feel like Rapunzel probably should have just stayed there for like 2 more seconds, because she did. You sat there, you took the picture with the older girl. The mom asked, like, is there a line? Go stand in line. So she was trying to do everything that she was supposed to do. But then on the flip side, it's like, okay, so you talk to the guy. He goes, oh, there's no real formal line. We're just walking around. Okay, so you had the conversation with someone. So you should have said, hey, can we get the next picture? You didn't say that. So instead of you saying, hey, let's get a picture or something, you just so she's like, okay, well, maybe in her head, she thought it was the last picture and she started dipping off. But it's like, okay, when you got to the second group of people, at that point, it's like, hey, did you ever say, hey, can we get a picture? No, you just automatically started, oh, this is Elmo 2.0. Like, you can't do that and think these entertainers are going to take that kind of abuse. They don't have to take the abuse to begin with. So
Hold on. Bobby B said, I don't know how she could hear them, but she stopped to greet two black children too. So I don't know if it was racism, but maybe I missed something. Did y'all see her stop at two other black children?
Towards the end, I think.
towards
To
towards
end?
the end
Okay. Okay.
with the
With
kid
the
with the
other
monkey.
kid.
Remember,
Okay.
because I was like,
Okay.
oh, it
Okay.
looked
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Well, she was
Yeah.
talking to the black kid in the beginning, though.
yeah,
That's
she was.
true.
So that's what I'm saying. I don't think it was a racist thing to begin with. I just
Hmm.
think the fact that it was like, okay, when I first got to this group, it was 4 people. I did my 4 people. All right, let me go start moving on to the next group. But I never heard the mom ask the guy for them to take the picture because it's usually a character and a person with the character. So that's why I'm like, you really didn't say anything. You just told her to go get in line. And then it's like, okay, you went from going to go get in line to running through the people picture. Because think about it. The guy took the picture. You saw where the kid ran,
Hmm.
in between them after the picture. So a lot of times it's okay, let me let you get your picture. Okay, hey, can we get the next picture? Like, you have to vocally say something
Yeah.
so they know that you're trying to get a picture or something. So I don't think the first walk off was intentional, but I do feel like once you started with the rah rah stuff behind me as the person in character, I'm thinking it's about to be a problem
Yeah.
because
Gotcha.
all I hear is screaming going forward. So
June.
it's all right. I'm gonna keep walking until I alleviate the circumstance.
June, you gonna go or?
Wait, I can at first I didn't. I looked at it and I thought she was getting annoyed with the kids running in front of her when she was taking the picture. That's what I thought was happening, and I put myself in that position, and I'm like, yo, that's they're rude. I don't want to take a picture with them. I want to go on my lunch break, and watching it now, I'm like, you know what? They hired her to do her job. You cannot break character. Your job is to make every child there feel like they're in Disneyland or Disney World.
Hmm.
I know she heard. Well, I don't know, but I believe she heard when they wanted to take the picture. She was talking to the one girl about the hair, like, "Oh, your hair's long," and she's like, "Yeah, blah blah blah." So you can hear them, and you just walked off. Like, you broke character. Disney World hired you to make them feel like little princesses. Like, you're a princess, and you're gonna make them believe they can be a princess. And I think she was foul for the walk off. Like, you're getting paid. You're not doing this for free. It's not like you just came to Disney World and they're like, "Oh, you look like Rapunzel. Throw this on." No, you just walked off. I have an issue with that. The more y'all were talking, I was getting angry, and I wasn't angry
Yeah.
watching it. I started feeling like that. You like to violate my child and make them. And the mother was wrong for saying that because you don't know if that's what it was. Like,
Yeah.
you're making the child think because you're black, that's what you're going to experience all the time. And it's like,
Yeah. Exactly. Yep.
But
See,
I think by the mother saying that is what caused it, though. I
no,
really do.
I don't
Because
think
my
so.
thing is, yes, she walked, I didn't know, because when you first look at the picture, you don't realize she wants to take a picture. All she said was, "Oh, she has really long hair." Like, she was being a little kid.
you got to say, do you want to take a picture? You got to be in
But
character.
that's what I'm saying
I,
though. But not all the times do the character there say that because you have to look at it too. If a lot of times it's the parent going, "Hey, can I take a picture?" Because think about it. If you listen to the clip, the guy with the bigger kid asks, "Hey, can she take a picture with you?" So you have to look at how everybody else was doing it because maybe her job at that time was to just walk around the park
I
Yes,
disagree, man.
without.
I
And think
disagree.
about it. I've
Disney
gone to the
World
parks
shouldn't have
tons of
hired her.
times. A lot
Hold
of
up,
times.
hold up. Y'all had your takes. Y'all had
Go
your
ahead.
takes, and
Sorry.
I'll let y'all talk. I have to disagree with this 100% because you knew what the kids were around you for. You get what I'm saying? And I like June said, I'm pretty sure you heard them asking about, hey, is there a line and stuff like this, and the children wanted to see you, so to speak. But another thing that we got to look at, these people are human. So for her walking off, maybe in her mind is, hey, you didn't ask me for a picture or whatever the case may be, so I'm just gonna walk off and do what I gotta do. But at the end of the day, like June said, you're hired to make these kids dreams, so to speak. Now, with what the mother was saying, could that have played a role to make her be like, you know what? I'm not even gonna acknowledge this. I'm just gonna walk off and keep doing what I'm doing. But no matter how frustrated you are, I'm
Mhm.
sorry, you had to have been aware with what happened in Sesame Street. And the fact that this is a black child, you know it's going to get that much magnified. So even if you went up and hugged another black child or whatever the case may be, what's gonna stand out to the people is that you shunned this little girl who was literally waiting for you. You're hugging all these people and taking pictures, and then when she was ready to, get her fair share, you walked off and didn't even acknowledge her and kept walking. So I see it as, yo, that looked bad optically. No matter how much you put your feelings into it, that's what you were hired for. That was your job.
Correct. But like I said, I'm not putting anything past it, but I do feel like, the mom could have said, "Hey, can we take a picture?" Because like I said, you're in a park, you don't always know that people want to take a picture with you. They might have just been in passing go, "Oh, I like your hair. You got a pretty gown." Like I've gone to the parks before. Everybody don't take a
But
picture with the character.
but
But you
again,
also as the adult in the circumstance, I don't feel like she should have used that rhetoric. And I do feel like, hey, if the character had somebody else with her, hey, the next time she stopped, can we get a picture? That's all you had to say. You never said once that you wanted to take the picture, other than standing in line. Where's the line at? That's all you heard.
but Erica, I shouldn't have to ask you to help me. I shouldn't walk into Home Depot like, "Can you help?" You should be asking me like, "I'm doing with the money. I spent my money. You should ask me." So if the little girl's there, make them feel special. So I think it's Disney World's fault for not really qualifying their people, because she should be walking around being a princess and acknowledge them. If you're not even going to take a picture, acknowledge them, bow, do something, and then walk away. She did none of that. So it's on Disney World for not
Correct. And
entertaining.
like I
Because
said, yes, I get that too. Do I blame the princess? I do. But I also blame that parent for saying what she said, because guess what? You're putting the princess in a hostile work environment now. So with you
Mhm.
saying all of that, that's making me dip off even faster. And it's
Absolutely.
making me not want to take the picture with your kids because I have to hear that rhetoric. And you can't tell me after the Sesame Street ordeal or Sesame Place ordeal, these characters ain't been hearing this going forward. Because
but here
there are places in the park where you specifically can go take pictures with the princesses. I don't know if you're gonna like that price tag for them pictures, but you can go right over to the castle and they have set times that they do. Because yes, the ones that walk around the park don't have to take the pictures. Their job
here's
is to walk around the park.
but here's one thing I will say though. Granted, I agree that that woman shouldn't have said what she was saying and letting the children hear it, but your actions is what caused her to say what it was. So if you would have just took this 1 second to acknowledge the little girl who was asking, "Hey, is there a line to see her?" and stuff like this, you had to have the wherewithal to understand that that child wanted to either take a picture or at least get a hug or something. So you had to know that, and then you just walked off. So that's on you. So that parent saying that was a reaction of your actions. And like I said, your job is to walk around and greet the kids or whatever the case may be because you're in character. Once you're in clock, you hit punch in, you're in character. That's your job.
It's true.
Vic said, "I stood in the animal kingdom in Disney for 4 days and went on 3 day in the Disney cruise. And Disney is a racist place. Disney World sucks. I recommend the Disney cruise." Yeah, he definitely recommend the Disney cruise. I hear good things about the Disney cruise.
Cruise.
Yeah, the Disney cruise I heard is lit.
Mm.
Let me see what other comments that happened to me and my son in Disney cruise. That's what Victor said. Black Sheepdog said, "I'm dying over here. They need to pull her hair to get her attention." Bobby B said the mom was polite though. No way was she polite. Yo, you could tell she was ready to get ratchet. Like, well, she already was, being borderline ratchet, so to speak. But yeah, you could tell she had a mouth on her, so to speak. But yeah, um, yeah. What I think is gonna happen now is a lawsuit. But this is why I say, man, if you feel like you're being, you know, discriminated against, just don't support these companies, man. Just don't give them your money. Like, that's all I can say on the matter. Just don't give them your money, you
Some
know?
people feel like they won. Like that's how they feel like they won because they don't want our money. And it's like, but you look like a dummy. Like
Here's the thing, too, though. What about this, though? Especially everything that's going on. You could be looking at people that's just looking at every opportunity to get a come up
That is true
Possible.
too.
for a lawsuit.
We didn't
You
see
know?
that video could have started a whole different way. We don't even
Yeah,
know.
yeah. For all we know, they could have been talking crap to Rapunzel way before and pissed her off or whatever. But at the end of the day, even if they did, you're still in character.
Facts.
You're
Yep.
still in character, so
Yep.
you still got to treat everybody. Unless you went to a supervisor and said, "Hey, they're treating me hostile. I can't." Then cool. But if that didn't happen, you're still in character.
But Erica's saying they don't have to take pictures though, so she didn't do anything outside of character by just spinning off.
You did. Because,
Yeah.
like I said, you have to look at where they are in the park. So that was just the pathway, walking around. But like I said, I've gone to quite a few parks. So I know, especially with Disney, there's set times that you go for the princesses to take pictures at the castle. There are, they have the other characters that do walk around the park. But like I said, those aren't the stationary take a picture because guess what? There's no photographer. That was just
I
her
know
walking
that.
around.
But with camera phones, this is different. Like,
Yes, camera phones change the dynamics, but guess what? Even if you still go to the parks to this day, they want you to spend
they
your
do.
$30 to $60 on
They
their
do.
picture packages.
Exactly, they do.
You go online, they got bands now where you can get the unlimited photo added to your bands. So
Yeah.
every time you go in line, it's automatically charging you for those pictures. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it really just depends on where that princess was in the park. She could have been walking from one location to another. Maybe she and I'm not saying this to be funny because yes, she did stop at other kids, but you don't know if that princess was on her way to one of the gigs. You don't know if that princess was going to a show, if she was going to, they do the parades in the middle. Like, you don't know what the dynamic was for that too. So,
but a kid don't care for that. If you
correct,
didn't,
and the kid don't care.
If you didn't say that, then they don't want to hear that. If you stopped and spoke to all these other kids, you could at least acknowledge that one kid.
Correct, but my thing too is like as a parent, if you really want this picture, I have to express, hey, when they're done, can my kid get the next picture? That could have probably eliminated half of the stuff that was going on. You don't know. And you don't know who the lady was talking to in the background was. You don't know if that was another parent that was just standing there. You don't know if that, if the character had somebody with her. So that's what I'm saying. There were loopholes right there too. And yes, granted, you expect her to be able to hear what's being said around her, but you never know with these characters. It's like, okay, the next 501 picture. Come on. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, you don't know the whole everything that
the way I see it, man.
Because
we
optics look
live in a
different.
time now that everybody is pretty much trying to look for a come up. We looking at this Disneyland stuff. I even look at when people interact with police, how, oh, I'm not resisting and stuff like this. It look like a lot of cases they just be looking for a nice come up where I can sue the police department and all of this stuff, and as a quick come up. That's how I see it. Victor said black people are lucky they can sue and get paid for someone even looking at them the wrong way. I know they had black people in the animal kingdom playing an African instrument since its African theme. They looked tired and had looked like, damn, I should have stood in Africa. Vic said you should identify as black and get paid. I identify as black and black again. Yeah, I would love to see Vic and Black Sheepdog do a podcast, yo. That junk would be hilarious. I'd pay to see that. I'd be broke with super chats. All right, so let's move on to the last subject of the day. And that is Tyga apologizing to the Mexican community for his Ay Caramba song. And he had a conversation with American Cholo, who's a YouTuber, and he felt like that video was very disrespectful to the Mexican community. And yeah, I'm gonna pull up the video that they had to exactly show exactly what he had a issue with when it came to the Ay Caramba video. And I seen the video too, and I'll give my thoughts on that after showing this.
Shout out to our guy Lulu.
Oops, hold on.
Who connected the dots for us as well, man. But I don't know if we should let you speak first, Gil, and
Sure.
just kind of like tell us your point of view on.
Right. So first of all, thank you for coming, Tyga.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, man. I'm not looking for any kind of fight. I'm not looking to blame or call Tyga any names. I'm looking for some kind of understanding, because in the community, the brown community, Mexican community, whatever you want to call it, it wasn't the song itself that was so offensive to us. It was the videos. It was the visuals on it, right? And I believe that it has a lot to do with just not just Tyga himself, but a lot of the industry being tone deaf when it comes to Mexican American or just brown people in general. And let me explain to you what I saw as a brown man looking at that video, Tyga. Okay. I'm looking at the video, and originally I see a greasy fat Mexican eating chips, room's all dirty. And then I see when he's outside in the lowrider, you got tortilla chips falling down. And a lot of times when it comes to us, people don't really see it. But when I flip the script on it and say, okay, let's put an African-American man sitting down on a couch, dirty-ass room, eating some fried chicken, goes outside into the lowrider scene, and you got watermelon falling from the sky. And that kind of visual is the kind of visual I got to kind of explain to other people so they can see what we're talking about. And when the song itself, no, not at all, brother. I don't think the song is offensive. I don't believe the caramba part's offensive either, not any way, shape, or form. But I think that maybe, I don't know if somebody wrote that video for you or you did it. I think when you guys were all in a room thinking about what you were doing, you guys probably thought it's going to be funny, it's going to be fun, we're going to have a good time about it. But it seems almost, and correct me if I'm wrong, like you had no real representation of any Mexican American in that room telling you, hey, Tyga, I don't think this is it. To me, am I wrong to think that it was just maybe you and maybe some white or other African American artists in the room when you guys were making that video?
All right. So that was the beef that he had to say about it. And Vic said American Cholo is from Honduras. He ain't even Mexican. And said Mexican hang Mexicans in Mexico like if it was Christmas, but get offended over tortillas and girls sucking his toe, please. And Black Sheepdog said, don't mess with the tacos, just don't mess with it. All right. So now, after that surfaced that Cholo had a problem with the video, saying that Tyga was disrespecting Mexican culture. Tyga said his intentions was not to disrespect Mexican culture whatsoever, right? But we all know the internet is undefeated. So then video surfaces with Cholo being offensive to Black Americans. So let's play that video.
He's a big black guy. He's got the big black guy syndrome, homeboy. So all I know is I got my platform, carnal. Use a fool, use a chump, and use a ghetto coon. With that, I'm out. When you guys were slaves, you guys would run to Latin countries, brother. But really, you're just a ghetto coon, brother. You're just a ghetto coon. A lot of the ghetto coons do that. They talk a good one. I mean, fuck them niggers. I mean, fuck them niggers. I mean, fuck them niggers.
So yeah, the pot calling the kettle black. All right, so with that being said, do you feel, number one, it's reported that the man is not even Mexican, right? So do you feel like, number one, he should be in a position to even say anything, granted how he was saying stuff that was offensive to blacks?
Yeah. So it's hard because I feel like people in general are going to, they figure out what is culturally appropriate for them and what is not. I do feel like somebody who has said something in a video surfaced, you did something worse than what the music video did is a problem. But I also feel like Are you trying to make yourself relevant? Because before this, I didn't know who this American Cholo person was. One, two, it's like, okay, you're like, okay, I'm talking about a video, but what's next? Like, you talked about this video, like, what is your end game? Are you trying to cancel Tyga for his video?
Here's a question that I have to ask though. Shouldn't black culture, when somebody do a video or whatever that depict black people in a certain way, shouldn't they be up in arms too, so that they can command the same respect? Because I'm not mad at. Granted, he may be from Honduras, but if a Mexican or even just one Mexican, if they say they had an issue with the video, so to speak, they should have every right to have a issue with the video and speak their piece. Because what I notice a lot in the black community is people could say whatever and it's like, haha, keep it moving, and that's that. Like, everybody can attack the black community, but once the black community attack another community, whether it's in a video or whatever the case may be, then it's a problem. Like, it's going to be speaking up about it, so to speak. The only thing like black people can't really don't get bashed for is black people feel like we can't be racist because we were oppressed, but yeah, black people, whenever they say something, like, they gotta backpedal their steps like quick. Look at Whoopi Goldberg was a scenario of having to backpedal. Nick Cannon had to backpedal when he was like, we're the indigenous, what did he say, we're the real Jews or indigenous people or something like that. So you always get black people to have to backpedal when they say stuff about other communities, but we don't do the same thing. So I can kind of respect, whether he's Mexican or not, I can respect what he's doing and what his argument is. But with that being said, when stuff surface of you of doing exactly what you're trying to fight for, I got to turn a side eye to it. You get what I'm saying? I got to look at it with a side eye, because I'm like, you're doing the same thing. I didn't hear people give you backlash or anything like that of it, but I think that's the problem.
Because they're not. Because you have to think about it. You have to have people that are going to come together for the common problem and have a set goal to fix it. Neither one of them really is fixing the goal. Yes, you calling out, the artist about how they predicted, did that. But did it change? Did the video come down? Did you edit the video and put it back up?
Tyga took the video down. He apologized to the Mexican community.
Correct, and that's what I'm saying. If that was your end goal, okay, he took the video down, maybe edited the video or what he's gonna do. But to that extent, that's the only extent that you're really gonna get is the edited version of the video, and then it getting put back up. I do feel like what you said doesn't change, your mindset on how you see people. And I do feel like if you have that circulating around, that's a mindset.
What
His
do you
was a
mean?
video.
What do you mean by that?
The American Cholo and what he said.
Mhm.
Like, that's your mindset. You don't change that mindset
Yeah.
that often. If that's
What
how you
she
feel, that's how you feel.
basically what she's saying, he's speaking from the heart. What Tiger did was just a music video, which is entertainment. So that's not something where he's saying like, oh, Mexicans are this or that. No, he's just having a video and having fun. American Cholo was speaking his mind on how he really felt about an individual and was saying basically a lot of, negative, negative, what's the word I'm looking for? Basically saying negative, use the racial slur and using negative context towards a black
Connotation.
person. Yeah.
Well, but that doesn't mean, like I said earlier, just because you use that language doesn't mean that's how you feel, to be honest. If I'm getting in an argument with somebody and I'm a troll and they're a troll, I may use whatever I think is going to hurt them. Like Dave Chappelle's not going to try to say, you know what, I think this is going to hurt you, I'm not going to use it. Nah, we're going to use what we think can get the result we want. So that video looked like it was mad old, where he was saying all that hateful stuff. It looked old.
It is, but But the bottom line is you still here's the thing. If I was gang banging, right, when I was younger, and now I'm changing my ways, I can go to people and say, "Hey, don't gang bang." Right? I can go to people and say, "Hey, don't gang bang and stuff like this, yada yada." But then if I turn around and I'm speaking about gangbangers like they're the most vile and despicable people on earth and they should have no kind of resolution and we should just kill them or whatever, it's like, dude, who are you to talk? Because you was the one who was the one that was poisoning our communities, doing exactly what you're trying to speak up against. You get what I'm saying? Now, I could understand, yes, people change their ways and stuff like that. But if you're speaking about the same people who are doing the same thing you used to do with such a vitriol and like they should get no kind of reparations or not a second chance or nothing, then that should be on you too. We shouldn't look at you as a changed person. We should look at you at the same vitriol as you're saying against these people. That's what I'm coming at. That's like the angle I'm coming at. So it's like you're calling the kettle black. If anything, if you said that about black people, him coming out with a video, it should have just kind of rolled off your shoulders like, I understand it's a music video, whatever, yada yada, this, that, and the third. Because people could have got offensive for what you said. But now you're turning around and getting offensive for what a music video, and it's not even something that he was saying like about Mexicans, so to speak. So
Yeah, but that is what he's saying. Because if you have a video like he painted with watermelons falling out the sky and this and that, that is what you're saying about black people. Because what made you use those props for your video? So he was saying stuff about Mexicans at the end of the day. He had tacos falling and things like
it was
that.
tortillas. It was
So
tortillas or
that
what
kind of
tortillas, yeah.
that could be offensive. So I don't know.
But when you watch a music video, aren't you looking to be entertained?
Yes, but is it at the expense of a group that may feel offended by it? If
So if, by your logic,
uh-huh.
we should do away with movies. If you have if like you should do like for instance, Erica, remember we read that? Remember, well, we didn't read it, but remember that white lady who came out with that book about what was it?
Yes.
What was
Okay.
it about?
It
No,
it was
just tell me what was the like what was the title? I forgot.
I don't remember the
Because
title,
wasn't
but
it
it
a
was black appropriateness. So it was it was about it was a women's book. It was like
it
a
was a it was
women.
it was a it was a book about black women, something
Yes.
like that.
So
Now,
it was a black trap queen type environment. So black
no,
trap
black
queen
feminism. It was
feminism.
about black feminism or something like that. But that book was her speaking to black women and getting their thoughts on it and putting it into a book. People already had preconceived notions saying, "Oh, how could a white woman write a book and just like trash the book and didn't even read it?" You get what I'm saying? Like, didn't even read it, didn't even give it a light of day. And it's like, how can you judge that just because a black person didn't write it, so to speak? How are you passing judgment on it? And that's what American Cholo was saying. Like, I'm sure when you made this video, it wasn't a Mexican person in there, talking about this and stuff like that. But Tiger's rebuttal was like, yeah, but I grew up around all Mexicans. Half of my fans are Mexicans. Like, that was my people, this, that, and the third. So it was just, kind of all fun and games, so to speak. So it's like if you're watching a movie and the movie directors were all white and they made like, I don't know, uh a comedic movie, and in the comedic movie they had a scene like where the dude like a black people was eating chicken and stuff like this. It's like, are we going to get offended of that? Because at the end of the day, it's just entertainment on a big screen.
Yeah, but if they get backlash, they can't feel like, where's this coming from? I think everybody should be able to say whatever they want. That's what I personally believe. But it's
Okay.
not like that. Since we're all censored, then yes, you can't say this. For like we black people, we allow people to say anything about us because we're also saying stuff about each other. I don't hear people ripping each other like other races really ripping each other like that. We do. We'll rip Michael Jackson to the point where they start calling him funny names. We'll talk about Whitney being crackish. Like that's what we do. So other races gonna feel like, yo, we could get it, we could joke too. And we accept it. We don't wild out. We don't make a big fuss until it feel like it's racist.
But here's the thing. But if everybody is doing stuff like this, dropping videos where they're joking and stuff like
Uh-huh.
this, then at that point it's fair game. That's
Yes.
the way I see it. So that's why I'm like, yo, I understand where you're coming from, but everybody do it to each other. So why is it like a case of I get it, you can feel offended, that's your opinion and everything like that, but for Tiger to take the video down, to me, I don't agree with him taking the video down.
He
Because
didn't have to. That was out of respect, Walls. He
no,
was.
I know it was out of
Okay.
respect. I get that. But it's like I don't know, like if you see a person in a video, like, with a fat suit on or something like that. So now should we like not do videos of stuff like that? Like, you get what I'm saying? Like Nutty Professor, that movie should be taken off too then, because people who are overweight, they should look to ban that movie, so to
Give
speak. You
give
get
it
what I'm
give it
saying?
time. Give it time. Give it time. It'll be
Look,
gone.
if they going back and banning Dr. Seuss books for
Yeah.
kids from 1960 whatever, it could happen.
Oh, it's coming.
You think so? Yeah, if that happened, like, this censorship and stuff is,
Oh,
it's
But it's not censorship to an extent. It's also you have to think about what's culturally appropriate now that was not culturally appropriate years ago. Things have changed, times have changed. So with those changes come a whole different set of rules.
do y'all agree with the Dr. Seuss books being banned?
I don't know what was said in it, me.
Okay, so in
They were
general, it
Go
it
ahead.
was some of the books like they felt were one-sided. They felt that they weren't culturally appropriate for all types of kids. So I and then you just have to look at some of the wording. Like I get it. You talking stuff that was published years ago. They looked at black people as being less than a black person.
It
So
says that
I
they were
can't
being
ban stuff.
it says they were the same. Six Dr. Seuss's books will no longer be published because they portray people in ways that are hurtful and wrong. And those titles are "And to Think That I Saw It on Mulberry Street," "If I Ran the Zoo," "McEllington's Pool," "On Beyond Zebra," "Scrambled Egg Super," and "The Cat's Quizzer."
Crazy thing is, those aren't the best, some of the big selling items for them
Hmm.
either. So it was like some of those spin-off books that are not the normal Cat in the Hats and, the ones that all the kids know. The book that say how cheap, like, it wasn't a big name book to begin with. I just felt like it was people that were reaching and you knew you had to be a real Dr. Seuss fan to know those titles. Those are not the big name titles.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. Like I look at it as movies and entertainment and stuff like that. Those things, I don't know. Like I look at it as a form of entertainment, and I don't see it as disrespect or something like that. Like I don't know. If that's the case, man, then white people should be offended by Django, the movie Django, how he was, killed white people and overthrew, the slave masters and stuff like this. Like anybody can feel offended about anything. So
Yeah, but
it's like at this point, why make movies? Why make videos? Like nothing. Like just shut up and work. That's it.
Walls, that is the season we're in because that movie, Rise of not Birth of a Nation, something like that, where yeah, they didn't like that because he rose against the masters and he killed them in their sleep, and they didn't like that. They felt like it was trying to glorify violence and trying to like excite people into. They didn't like that. We're in a different climate right now. You can't say certain things like, and I noticed why because I was at a library with my son, and there was a little boy. To me, it looked like a little girl, and I was like, "Yo, G," I was like, I said something about her. And then I looked at it. I'm like, dang, I think it says boy on the shirt. And then I looked and it said boy. And I kept calling that boy girl. And I'm like, I can confuse this child's mind by calling it a girl, 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 girl. And I'm like, oh, I get why they don't like us even just doing that. Because as a parent, don't call my son a girl. Like, I don't want that. So I understand why they're trying to tiptoe around everything because I don't know. We're in that mental stage where people are getting affected and committing suicide. It's terrible.
Check it out. Hold on. Before you go, Erica, it says Bobby B said cultural appropriation is nothing but an excuse to censor. It violates the principles of our basic human rights to do this, and the people calling for bans replace stuff with political propaganda. I agree. And before we go on, I'll drop the link in the comment section. If anybody want to call up and voice their opinion, you definitely can. You don't have to be on camera. You could just turn your camera off and voice your opinion, and yeah, say your piece and join the conversation. So there we go. And let me see. Vic said that video of Star Report of Ricky Martin, I didn't get offended by what they were saying about my people. I was cracking up, and most was true. Our children won't be able to have conversations without walking on eggshells. I agree with that. All right, yeah. So go ahead, Erica.
I forgot what I was gonna say.
Oh, my bad, my bad, my bad. But yeah, man, I understand you saying it's not censorship, but for me, I view it as censorship, man. It's like entertainment is entertainment. The big screen is the big screen. Music videos is music videos. I don't see that as an issue, but when I see what American Cholo did, that to me is more glaring because you're literally speaking your mind on an individual and basically grouping them into a like grouping them dropping them into like a group of negative like a negative tone on a group of people, so to speak. I'm fumbling my words. You're basically taking a negative word or racial slur used against a group of people and dropping this individual to describe him, and then attacking everybody by using a slur, which is the N word, so to speak. And
Yeah, okay,
when
not
he
to cut you
wait,
off
wait,
on that.
before you go on, just hold your thought on it. Don't forget it. The thing that rubbed me the wrong way too that he said was blacks were running to Latin countries to seek refuge and stuff like this. To me, that sounds like a B move. You know what B word I'm talking about? Because when you do something for somebody and then you hold it over their heads, like, come on, man. We all know, like in the manosphere, we all say that's a B move. Like, you don't do that. You don't hear Haitians saying, "Oh, we help America, like Black Americans get their freedom, and they were seeking
I
refuge,"
do hear that though. Not
like
not.
this.
I hear
I
they
don't
hear
hear
that.
it. I don't hear. Like, even if you have that discussion amongst yourselves, you don't say that
Okay,
to an individual.
I dig it.
It's a difference to have the discussion internally. You get what I'm saying? It's like if I did something for you, you was like, "Yo, man, I'm gonna get kicked out of my house if I don't get $500. Could you hook me up?" And I hook you up. I could go to my significant other and be like, "Yo, I hooked them up with $500, yada yada." But I'm not gonna go to you and hold it over your head. That's disrespectful.
It
You
is.
feel me? So yeah. But go on, Erica. Sorry.
Okay, so I had a question though, because technically, isn't he a brown person? So him saying the N word, is it offensive?
That's the
Yes,
thing.
it is, but the way you're using it, like, yeah, it's offensive.
But
If
why?
Huh?
But why is it?
Even if you're using it in a negative way, that's offensive. And you're black.
How though?
What you mean how?
Like, what do you mean? See, that's why that's why we just gotta get rid of the
He
word.
didn't say he didn't say A, he said ER. And everybody say there's not a difference. To me, it's a difference. That's my opinion. It's a difference when you
Yeah,
say
but think
ER
about it
and
though.
A.
It's a difference if he was not a brown person saying it though. He is technically a brown person.
I
Any
understand that.
person that
But
is got a little bit of melanin in their skin is considered a
but
brown
Erica,
person.
Erica,
Honduras, Mexican, brown person.
When black folks use the N word in their songs, when they're speaking, it's always with the A at the end,
I
not
don't
the
care. Like that
ER.
word is that word regardless.
I
Like they all mean the
understand.
same thing to
See,
me.
that's to you. But now you're disregarding the people who, in their opinion, they're saying it's just this whole conversation we're having now. We're saying it's not offensive to some, but it's offensive to others. So if we can have that conversation, you got to understand, even though to you it's the same, to other people it's different. Saying it with
Correct.
the
But what
A
I'm
and the ER. So
correct, but my thing is he being a brown person
what I'm
could say
saying,
both.
yes, but what I'm
Basically.
saying, in the black community, if you're saying it with an ER, you're like, they view you differently. At like, if a hood dude hear you say it with an ER, you're viewed completely different as opposed to if you're saying it with an A. Like, I don't care how you slice it. If a rapper right now dropped a song and he was referring to all his people as the N word with the ER, people are gonna be like, wait, what? Nah, son, you tripping. If you say with the A at the end, it's I. They like, I bet. You get some people who don't agree with it, yes, but the ER at the end, like,
Yeah, but that's where it get ignorant is to, like you said, to some people it's okay, to some people it's not. So how we supposed to know to who it matters to who? Because some of us look at the A as the same difference as if you said it with an ER.
see,
So
I
how can
don't,
you say with the A around me when that may be offensive to me just as much as the ER is offensive to you? So it's like,
because I look at the linguistics of it. I look
okay,
at the linguistics of it.
but that's how you look
It's
at it.
listen. No, because this is linguistics, period.
Okay.
It's funny how we can accept other words that you change one letter and the meaning is completely different. You have here, like I always say, you have here, HERE, that means come here. HEAR, that means I'm listening. You have SEE, I see you. SEA, body of water. Our whole English dictionary is predicated on one letter can change the definition of a word. But when it comes to this word, all of a sudden those rules don't apply.
But
But it's
here ending in R wasn't derived from HERE. Like somebody just said, I'm going to just spell it different. That didn't
yeah,
happen.
it
Completely
was derived
different
from
word.
different words.
Those words are the same exact word. It's just I'm saying it a little different, meaning I accept it. But he says it different, so I don't accept that. That's
Oh,
why.
okay. So then did you ever say, yo, that's fat as far as PHAT? That derives from being,
I may have.
or yo, son, that's sick, or son, that's stupid.
Mhm.
We've been changing the definition of words all the time.
That's true.
You get what I'm saying? Like, that's part of the English dictionary that we've been changing it. Don't get me wrong. I agree 100%. I don't like the word. But what I'm saying is, as a brown person, you using it with an ER, I think that's both ways is damaging, but I think ER is more damaging because you're literally using the word that was hijacking, like was hijacking created to literally mean you're less than, and you're using that to describe or get at a black person that you have an issue with. That's where I'm like, yo, man, I understand. Yeah, you're a brown person, but dag, you're using the ER to a fellow brown person. Like,
Not wait, Roy. All right, all right. He knows my situation. I'm not gonna bring it out, but I did that, and to me, I was trying to be funny using it, and the person didn't find it funny. So what he's saying is right. Some people take strong offense to the ER,
mhm.
but us accepting the A already contaminate whatever it is we thinking we're saying. Like it now, I don't know if the A is a problem. I don't know if the ER. On Dave Chappelle, he says the hard ER, and it's hilarious. Like the way he says it, it's hilarious. So he can say because it's funny, but when somebody else uses it, it's like, nah, bro, you shouldn't use it. Like that's
Bec- we all know the rules is different when it comes to comedy. Comedy is the one area where all bets are off.
isn't
So
competition like that also. If I'm
what?
competing with you, like let's say we debate, doesn't the gloves come off also?
I
That
don't think so. The
you
reason why I don't think so is because you can have the gloves come off and everything like that, but once the gloves come off and you're trying to be as hurtful as possible to me, then that means that hurt can come with if I decide I want to physically hurt you too, because you're trying to hurt me as much as possible. So if the gloves are off and you're trying to hurt me, I should be able to hurt you, and that goes with verbally and physically.
Yes, but
So if
Kramer,
so,
Kramer on Seinfeld, you remember when he cursed those people out, porch monkeys and blah
Mm.
blah blah. That's comedy.
Oh,
But
he was canceled.
no. He was trying to be offensive on that what you call it. If you look at it, it was somebody in the crowd. It wasn't like the comedy routine what skit was done.
I know, yeah.
He was actually going at somebody in the crowd and having a verbal dispute with them.
Yes,
And
but
he
like
did that.
D.L. Hughley normally does. But that's part of comedy, though. Is now I'm gonna roast you. That's comedy.
But here's the thing. This goes into the very first topic that we covered here, right? If we're going into an argument, you instead of trying to be who's the one who's gonna be disrespectful or hurt me the most, it should be a situation where you educate that person on said topic. Because if that black dude would have came to Homer and would have been disrespectful and called them all types of slurs, the H word for white people and stuff like that, or the C word, yada yada, then people would have been like, yo, the white dude was right in what he did because look how this dude is acting, yada yada. So
That's true.
I understand where you're coming from, but if you're in an argument and you're trying to be hurtful, you're in the wrong from the beginning because you should be
I'm
trying
not
to.
saying to be hurtful. What I'm saying is, I'm not even using that. It wasn't to be hurtful. It's to be funny at the expense of the person. That might
Got
hurt
you.
the person, but that's not the intentions to hurt them. It's for comedic relief, essentially.
Yeah.
Correct. But you got to think about it though. There is a thin line between
Yes.
because you got to remember cancel culture was not cancel culture 10 years ago. So that skit would have flew and you would have been good.
And
But
here's another.
now anything will get these people canceled.
And here's another thing with David Chappelle skits when he used the N word with the ER, he would be making reference to like an old white man saying, "Hey, get over here, N word," stuff like that. He wasn't saying it to somebody. He was just making a reference as if like, "Hey, this is what a old white person would be saying," or something like that. So
But I'm
there's
saying
a
we found that funny, and the old white person using it. That's not funny. That's a negative situation. But to us, it's hilarious. And
it,
it's
it
like,
it
why?
is hilarious, but at the end of the day, how can you be offended where that's the language that you did use? You're offended because you feel embarrassed that you actually use that language. To me, that's different. Just because you're embarrassed on the language that you use to offend me and I'm calling you out on it, now you're embarrassed and you want to. No, it doesn't work that way. If I'm like, yo, June called me a mother effer, and he was cracking jokes on my dead mom or my dead pops or whatever, yada yada. You can feel salty and feel offended, like, yo, Wally's actually saying this about me. But why should I care? You feel offended if I'm pointing out the history of what you literally did to me.
You shouldn't. You shouldn't.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So why should Dave Chappelle be offended if a person is saying, I feel offended what he's saying, if Dave Chappelle is saying, this is what you were saying to us? Dave Chappelle shouldn't feel offended.
No, but I'm saying there's black people, older heads that may feel offended just using the word period. Like that's not funny. You're saying it on national TV, and now you're infecting the younger kids to start saying it. So
I get what you're saying. Yeah, I could see that. But ER definitely I don't get down with that. I can tolerate the A at the end, but I don't use it. I don't let my kids use it, the whole nine. But what I'm saying with the A at the end is I understand.
I
See,
got
people
what you
got
mean.
that. People got that. They think I'm pro. No, I just understand it and I understand the dynamic that they're going with it on why they use it. I don't agree with it. That's why I like people be like, damn, you defending it so hard. It's not that I'm defending it because I understand their point of view. That's what it is. You get what I'm saying? But
I
I
get it.
totally don't agree with it. That's why when me and Siege had that debate on it, I was like, yo, you won the debate. I give it to you because we basically agree on the same thing. You get with me? I agree with you 100%, but I'm just, making the argument for those who stand in that position.
That's what I
That's all
do.
it is. Yeah. But the ER, to me, it's a big difference to me. To others, I respect that it doesn't matter to others, but to me, it's a big difference. Like totally 100%. Okay, let's go through the comment section, see if there's any other comments, to run through, and I guess we'll call it a night. Vic, I knew Vic was gonna this was gonna come up. 2024, if Trump runs America, is gonna get crazy. I like Trump, but he sees whites are becoming minority and he don't like it. He's agitating whites to do something. I agree, man. I agree.
Oh, he is.
Anything a person doesn't want to hear will eventually become political correctness. That's true. That is true. Black Sheepdog Trump 2024. Yeah, I'm thinking hard and voting for him now. I just want to piss the Democrats one more time. Piss off the Democrats. What kills me about the Hispanics, they come to America and demand and grow all this courage. If they had that courage in their country against their government, maybe things will change. That's true. Context matter too. Context matter too. If a word is inappropriate for one, it should be inappropriate for all.
That's
Skin
how.
color should not define that word. You are allowed to use it, in my opinion. I agree. I agree 100% with you. Like, I agree. And like I said, I don't agree with your stance on the matter. I'm just saying I understand. That's all I'm saying because I don't use it in my lexicon. Erica P, I'm offended you called me brown. See, cancel her. Cancel her. Look, June. Bye. All right. Bobby B facts. I agree with Bobby. Yeah, I agree too. I definitely agree. I'd rather we didn't use racial slurs too. I just think it's wrong no matter who used them. I agree too. It's different. It's other ways that you can speak to somebody in an intellectual manner.
That's
You feel
true.
me? To make your point. Like we said in that first video, that was powerful. It's not white people's fault. They jerked the natives, giving them weed, and they signed the states away for a bag of weed and $7.
Wow.
You wrong for that, Vic. Yo, you wrong. I want to hear when people use it. I want to hear how ignorant they are. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, we are the same people. We are brothers, and we don't see it. I agree.
That's
I
fine.
definitely agree. You forgot the skit with the white family whose last name was the number. I didn't see that one. Was the N word? Oh, was the N? Oh, okay. Yeah, I did see that. Stupid autocorrect. The one that was black and white, and he delivered the milk. All right, so they just having their own, discussions from there. For the record, I don't use the N word either, dude. Yeah, I don't use it too. I'll say dude, or I'll say my boy, or I'll say son, stuff like that, or whatever. Or
How do
sometimes I'll say ninja.
That's what I was going to ask you. How
Yeah,
do
I'll
you
say
feel about
ninja,
that?
sometimes like that or whatever. So, but yeah, I just be like, dude, I say dude a lot. But then you could get some people who be like, yo, I'm not a stoner. Don't call me dude. You get what I'm saying? So people can find ways to be offended about anything. So
Facts.
it is what it is. But all right, we've been going at this for over 2 hours now. This was definitely a good live, man. I enjoyed every minute of it. I appreciate everybody for joining us here. Subscribe, like, and share. Definitely hit up June's channel. Hold up, hear me out though. It's simul streaming on Hold up, hear me out though. Facebook, Twitter, multiple platforms. Again, we enjoy you guys having this conversation going. We loved every minute of it, every minute of it. And with that being said, you everybody have a blessed night. Do y'all got anything y'all want to say before we wrap it up?
Nope.
All
Good
right.
night, people.
Good night, everybody. We bid you adieu. Peace.